Hello guys, welcome to Saiyan What If. So in this video, we will see what if Goku was reincarnated as the Saiyan Devil King. If you enjoy these kinds of stories, don't forget to show us some love by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your support means the world to us. Now, let's start the story. Chapter 1, Crown of Blood Pain. That's what hit Goku first, the kind of all-over body ache that made even breathing feel like work. His head throbbed with each heartbeat, and somewhere distant, he heard chanting. What happened? Last thing I remember was. Images flashed through his mind, a battle, energy blasts lighting up the sky, his friends shouting, and then, nothing. Had he died? Again. Goku forced his eyes open. Red light bathed everything in a bloody glow. He lay on a stone altar surrounded by towering figures in armor that looked vaguely familiar. Not angels, not demons, Saiyans. Dozens of them, with their distinctive tails wrapped around their waists, watching him with expressions ranging from awe to suspicion. The Devil King awakens. A deep voice boomed across what Goku now recognized as some kind of massive temple chamber. The crowd erupted in a rhythmic pounding of fists against armor. Devil King. What are they talking about? Goku tried to sit up and realized two things simultaneously. He was wearing ornate black and red armor, nothing like his usual GI, and his body felt different. Stronger. Wilder. Power surged through him that didn't feel like his own. I don't understand, he said, his voice raspier than usual. Where am I? What's going on? A tall, scarred Saiyan with a flowing red cape stepped forward, dropping to one knee. The prophecy is fulfilled. The soul of the destroyer has returned to lead us to glory. All hail Kakarot, the Devil King. The assembled warriors dropped to their knees in unison, fists pressed to their hearts. All hail the Devil King. Goku stood shakily, taking in the massive chamber with its ancient stone walls covered in carvings depicting battles and transformations. This definitely wasn't Otherworld, and these definitely weren't the same Saiyans he knew. Something was very wrong. Look, there's been some mistake. I'm not this Devil King you're talking about. My name is Goku, and, silence. A female voice cut through the chamber. The crowd parted as a woman strode forward. Unlike the reverence on other faces, hers showed only contempt. Her armor was sleek and fitted, accented with commander insignia, and her tail lashed behind her with barely contained aggression. This weakling cannot be the destroyer. Look at him, soft-eyed and confused. The prophecy has failed. The scarred Saiyan rose to face her. Commander Kaiza, the ancient rites do not lie. The celestial alignment, the blood sacrifice, the soul flame, all have confirmed his identity. The woman, Kaiza, circled Goku, sizing him up with piercing black eyes. Then perhaps the Devil King has grown weak during his 1,000-year slumber. Perhaps he needs reminding of who he is. Before Goku could react, she launched at him, fast, way faster than he expected. Her fist connected with his jaw, sending him skidding across the stone floor. The crowd gasped. Muscle memory kicked in. Goku flipped mid-slide and landed in a crouch, wiping blood from his lip. Hey! What's the big idea? Kaiza didn't answer, just attacked again with a barrage of strikes that Goku barely blocked. This body might be powerful, but it felt unfamiliar, like wearing someone else's clothes. His timing was off. Fight back, destroyer, she snarled, landing a kick to his ribs that cracked the stone beneath him when he hit the ground. Or I'll kill you myself and we'll wait another millennium for a worthy Devil King. Something inside Goku snapped, not anger, exactly, but a surge of wild energy that didn't feel like his own ki. His vision tinged red at the edges, and suddenly his body didn't feel awkward anymore. It felt right. He caught her next punch in his palm, the impact creating a shockwave that rippled through the chamber. Kaiza's eyes widened as Goku slowly stood, still holding her fist. I don't know who you think I am, he said quietly, but I'm not interested in destroying anything. Now, can we talk without the punching? Kai'Sa wrenched her hand free and stepped back, reassessing. The Devil King doesn't talk. He conquers. Well, this one does talk, Goku replied, rolling his shoulders. The strange energy receded, leaving him feeling more like himself. And I've got questions. Like, where am I? What's planet Vegeta doing still existing? And why do you all think I'm some kind of devil? Murmurs spread through the crowd. The scarred Saiyan approached cautiously. My lord, planet Vegeta has always existed. It is the heart of the Saiyan Empire that spans 12 systems. And you are not a devil, you are the Devil King, the soul of our greatest warrior reborn every 1,000 years to lead our people to new glories. Goku scratched his head. So this isn't my universe. Look, last I checked, planet Vegeta was destroyed by Frieza decades ago. I grew up on Earth, not knowing I was even a Saiyan until, blasphemy, someone shouted from the crowd. The Devil King tests our faith. Kai'Sa silenced them with a raised hand, studying Goku with new interest. Frieza. You speak of Lord Frost's brother from the Eastern Quadrant? Why would a mere regional governor destroy the mightiest warrior planet in the galaxy? Lord Frost. Goku's head was spinning. No, Frieza was a tyrant who, the massive doors at the end of the temple slammed open. Guards in royal armor marched in, flanking a figure Goku recognized instantly despite the different universe. Prince Vegeta. He looked similar to the Vegeta Goku knew, same proud stance and perpetual scowl, but his armor was more elaborate, decorated with the royal crest, and he carried himself with even more arrogance, if that was possible. So the ritual actually worked, Vegeta said, his voice dripping with disdain. Though I'm not impressed by what it summoned. Goku couldn't help but smile. Some things were apparently consistent across universes. Vegeta. Man, am I glad to see a familiar face. Though you don't know me in this world, do you? Vegeta's eye twitched at the informal address. You dare speak to the crown prince of all Saiyans with such disrespect? Devil King or not, Prince Vegeta, the scarred Saiyan intervened, the ancient texts speak of the Devil King's unusual nature upon awakening. His power manifests gradually over the first lunar cycle. Convenient, Vegeta sneered. The Council of Elders has demanded proof of his identity and power before acknowledging his claim. The trial of blood has been scheduled for the full moon, 7 cycles from now. He approached Goku, stopping just out of striking distance. Until then, he is to be treated as an honored guest, not our king. The prince turned to Kai'Sa. Commander, the council has appointed you as his guardian. Teach him our ways, prepare him for the trial, and, his voice dropped to a dangerous whisper, keep him contained. If he is not who the ritual claims, I want to know immediately. Kai'Sa crossed an arm over her chest in salute. Yes, my prince. Vegeta gave Goku one last contemptuous look before turning on his heel and exiting with his entourage. The scarred Saiyan sighed. The prince has coveted the Devil King's power his entire life. Having it manifest in another is difficult for him to accept. Some things never change, Goku muttered. Look, I really need to figure out what's happening. Last I remember, I was fighting a major battle, and then I woke up here. I think I died in my world. Kai'Sa grabbed his arm. Not here. The walls have ears. To the crowd, she announced, the Devil King requires rest and preparation. The ceremony is concluded. As the assembled Saiyans reluctantly dispersed, she pulled Goku toward a side passage. We'll talk in your chambers. If even half of what you've said is true, we have a serious problem. Goku stood at the window of his quarters, staring out at a planet. Vegeta he'd never known. The capital city stretched before him, a blend of advanced technology and warrior aesthetics, training grounds alongside sleek buildings, landing pads filled with space vessels, and in the distance, massive statues of what he assumed were legendary Saiyan warriors. So you're claiming to be from another universe entirely, Kaiza said behind him, where you were some kind of peaceful warrior named Goku, not Kakarot, and our planet was destroyed. Pretty much, Goku replied, turning from the window. Though I wasn't always peaceful. I've fought plenty of battles, saved my universe a few times. But yeah, I'm not this devil king everyone thinks I am. Kaiza leaned against the wall, arms crossed. Her initial hostility had given way to wary curiosity. Yet the ritual summoned your soul specifically. Do you know what the trial of blood entails? Goku shook his head. You'll face the strongest warriors on the planet in combat, including Prince Vegeta. If you fail, you die, and we start the whole process over in another 1,000 years. She paused. If you truly aren't the Devil King, you won't survive. I've faced worse odds, Goku said with a shrug. But I'd rather figure out why I'm here first. This Devil King, what's his story anyway? Kaiza walked to a bookshelf and pulled down an ancient scroll. According to legend, the first Saiyans were ordinary warriors until a godlike being visited our world. He saw potential in our race and gifted his power to our greatest fighter before departing. That power has been passed down through reincarnation whenever the Saiyan race faces its greatest need. She unrolled the scroll, revealing illustrations of a dark, flaming figure leading Saiyan armies to victory. The Devil King isn't evil by our standards, just terrifyingly powerful. The devil refers to how he appears to our enemies. Goku studied the images. And you really think that's me? I did the ritual myself, Kaiza said. I sacrificed my own blood to the sacred flame and spoke the ancient words. The flame turned gold, the sign of success, and you appeared. She narrowed her eyes. What I'm trying to understand is why it brought someone who doesn't even identify as a Saiyan warrior. Goku's stomach growled loudly, interrupting the tense moment. He grinned sheepishly. Sorry. Dying and universe hopping really works up an appetite. Any chance we could continue this over food? For the first time, Kaiza's stern expression cracked slightly. At least your appetite is Saiyan enough. She pressed a panel on the wall. I'll have food brought. While they waited, Goku tried accessing his ki. It flowed differently here, wilder, almost predatory. The strange crimson energy he'd felt during his fight with Kaiza hovered at the edges of his consciousness like a barely contained beast. Something wrong? Kaiza asked, noticing his concentration. My energy feels different. Like it's not completely mine. She sat across from him. The Devil King's power merges with the host soul. The transition can be unsettling. Before Goku could respond, servants arrived with enough food to feed a small army. His eyes lit up at the spread, momentarily forgetting his concerns. Kaiza watched in amazement as Goku demolished plate after plate. By the gods, you eat like a starving Oozuru. Some things don't change across universes, Goku said between mouthfuls. So what's this Lord Frost you mentioned? In my world, Frieza was bad news, killed most of the Saiyans, including my birth parents. Kaiza's expression darkened. Lord Frost is our ally, in name only. His family controls the cold empire that borders our territory. They're stronger individually, but we Saiyans outnumber them. An uneasy peace has existed for generations, with occasional border skirmishes. And he's coming here? Goku asked, remembering the earlier conversation. Yes. The appearance of a new Devil King is a galactic event. All major powers send representatives, partly out of respect, partly to assess the threat. She leaned forward. Frost will arrive before your trial of blood. Be careful what you say around him. He's far more cunning than he appears. Goku nodded, finishing the last plate. Sounds familiar. So what's the plan? I'm guessing, sorry, wrong guy, won't go over well with your people. No, it wouldn't, Kaiza said bluntly. If word spread that you're not the true Devil King, you'd be dead before the next sunrise. Every ambitious warrior would try to claim the glory of killing you. Great, Goku sighed. So I need to play along and figure this out as I go. Story of my life. I'll help you, Kaiza said, surprising both of them with the offer. When Goku raised an eyebrow, she quickly added, only because my reputation is tied to the ritual's success. If you fail, I fail. Sure, Goku said with a knowing smile that made her scowl. So what's first on the Devil King's agenda? Tomorrow you meet the Council of Elders and begin training for the trial. She stopped suddenly, her head tilting toward the door. Someone's coming. Before Goku could question how she knew, the door slid open without announcement. A slender Saiyan male entered, dressed not in armor but in robes marked with symbols Goku didn't recognize. My lord, he said with a bow far less respectful than those at the temple. I am Karo, royal advisor to Prince Vegeta and appointed observer for the council. You mean spy, Kaiza said coldly. Karo smiled thinly. Merely ensuring protocols are followed, Commander. The Devil King's return is momentous, but also dangerous if mishandled. His eyes shifted to Goku. I've brought a welcome gift from the prince. He snapped his fingers, and guards entered carrying a chest. They set it down and departed with another shallow bow. The prince thought you might appreciate traditional armor befitting your station, Karo said. He also extends an invitation to join him for combat training tomorrow. He's quite eager to assess your abilities. I bet he is, Goku muttered, then brightened. Actually, training sounds great. Tell Vegeta I'm looking forward to it. Karo's eyes narrowed slightly at Goku's informal reference to the prince. I shall convey your enthusiasm. He bowed again and left without another word. Kaiza immediately went to the chest, examining it carefully before opening it. Inside lay magnificent battle armor, black with blood-red accents and the symbol of the Devil King emblazoned on the chest. Careful, she said as Goku reached for it. The prince isn't known for his generosity. Goku picked up the chest plate, inspecting it. Doesn't seem trapped. Actually looks pretty cool. It's not the armor I'm worried about, Kaiza replied. It's tomorrow's training. Vegeta won't kill you outright, that would cause too much political backlash, but he'll push you to reveal your true power, or lack thereof. Goku grinned, an expression that transformed his face from merely handsome to boyishly charming. Good. I was hoping to test out this body anyway. Kaiza stared at him, perplexed. You're either the strangest Devil King in our history or completely insane. Why not both? Goku laughed, setting aside the armor. Now, about this strange power I'm feeling, any way to practice controlling it before I have to fight the prince? The training chamber beneath Goku's quarters was smaller than the royal facilities but well equipped. Kaiza circled him as he moved through basic forms, adjusting to his new body's balance and strength. You fight strangely, she observed. Your style is unconventional. Earth martial arts mixed with what I learned from King Kai and others, Goku explained, throwing a combination that felt natural to him but clearly looked foreign to Kaiza. I've picked up techniques from across my universe. It lacks the aggression of Saiyan combat, she said, demonstrating a more direct, powerful sequence. We channel our rage, our pride. Your movements are too playful. Goku stopped, wiping sweat from his forehead. Where I come from, fighting isn't just about domination. It's about growth, challenge, even fun sometimes. Fun. Kaiza said the word like it was in a foreign language. Combat is about victory and survival. It can be more, Goku insisted. The best fights I've had pushed me to break my limits, sure, but they were also beautiful, in a way. Kaiza shook her head, but curiosity softened her features. Show me one of these techniques from your world. Goku considered for a moment, then settled into his stance. This is the Kamehameha wave, one of the first energy techniques I mastered. He cupped his hands at his side, focusing his ki. The energy responded differently than he was used to, hotter, more volatile, but he guided it into the familiar form. Ka, mi, ha, mi. The blue energy sphere formed between his palms, but streaks of crimson lightning crackled through it, growing more intense as he concentrated. Ha! The beam that erupted was not his usual Kamehameha. Instead of steady blue energy, a roaring torrent of blue and crimson power blasted from his hands, far stronger than he'd intended. It hit the reinforced wall and exploded, shaking the entire chamber and leaving a smoking crater in the supposedly indestructible material. Kaiza stared in shock, first at the damage, then at Goku. That was not Saiyan energy manipulation. Goku looked at his hands, which still tingled with residual power. That wasn't how it's supposed to work either. The Devil King's energy interfered somehow. A slow smile spread across Kaiza's face, the first genuine one he'd seen. Maybe you're not completely hopeless after all. Alarms suddenly blared throughout the chamber. Kaiza's communicator activated with an automated message, security breach in Royal District. All elite warriors report for duty. She was moving before the message finished. Stay here. The prince ordered. Not a chance, Goku replied, already heading for the exit. If there's trouble, I can help. This isn't your fight. It is now, he said with surprising firmness. I might not be your Devil King, but I've never run from people in danger. Something in his tone must have convinced her. Fine. But stay close and try to look intimidating, not friendly. A Devil King doesn't smile at danger. No promises, Goku called, already racing ahead. The Royal District was in chaos. Smoke rose from a crater where some kind of energy blast had destroyed a governmental building. Elite Saiyan guards formed a perimeter around the area, while medical teams tended to injured civilians. Goku and Kaiza arrived as Prince Vegeta himself landed at the scene, his royal guard flanking him. His face was a mask of controlled fury. Commander, he acknowledged Kaiza with a nod, then glared at Goku. I don't recall authorizing the Devil King's presence. I authorized myself, Goku replied before Kaiza could speak. What happened? Vegeta's eye twitched at the insubordination but answered anyway. Assassination attempt. A cloaked figure breached security and detonated an energy device. 3 council members dead, 2 injured. The target? Kaiza asked. Unclear. Could have been me, could have been the council. Could have been, Vegeta's eyes narrowed at Goku, a message about the Devil King's return. Goku stepped toward the impact zone, ignoring the warning looks from the guards. Something felt wrong about the energy residue, familiar somehow. Don't touch anything, Vegeta barked. My scientists will, it's God energy, Goku interrupted, crouching to examine the distinctive purple-tinged scorch marks. Or something close to it. I've felt this before in my world. Kaiza and Vegeta exchanged alarmed glances. Impossible, Vegeta said. The gods don't interfere in mortal affairs. Not for centuries. Goku ran his fingers over the ground, feeling residual energy that made his skin tingle. Well, someone with godlike power disagrees. And they're sending a pretty clear message. A new voice joined the conversation, smooth and cultured. What an interesting analysis from our newly arrived Devil King. Goku turned to see a figure that made him instinctively tense. Though colored differently, pale blue instead of purple, the resemblance to Frieza was unmistakable. Lord Frost glided forward with the same deceptive grace Goku remembered all too well. Lord Frost, Vegeta greeted stiffly. You've arrived earlier than expected. News of a terrorist attack travels quickly, Frost replied with a benign smile that didn't reach his eyes. I simply adjusted my schedule to offer assistance. His gaze fixed on Goku. So this is the legendary Devil King. Somehow not quite what I expected. Goku straightened, measuring the tyrant with an experienced eye. This Frost had the same dangerous energy as Frieza, carefully controlled but immense. Nice to meet you too, Goku replied with deliberate casualness that made Kaiza wince beside him. Frost's eyes widened slightly at the informal greeting, then he laughed, a sound that sent chills down the spines of the Saiyans present. How refreshing. The legends speak of a terrifying destroyer, yet you're positively charming. Appearances can be deceiving, Goku said, letting just a hint of the crimson energy flare in his eyes. Indeed they can, Frost agreed, his own power flickering subtly in response. I do hope we'll have time for a proper discussion before your trial of blood. I have so many questions about the Devil King's role in our modern galactic community. I'm an open book, Goku replied with a smile that contained a warning. Frost turned to Vegeta. Prince, perhaps we should continue our diplomatic discussions while your forces investigate this unfortunate incident. I've brought gifts from the Cold Empire that might help soothe the Council's concerns about recent border disputes. Vegeta's jaw tightened, but he nodded. Of course. Commander Kaiza, secure the area and report directly to me with any findings. And escort our Devil King back to his quarters. The emphasis made it clear it wasn't a suggestion. As Vegeta departed with Frost and their respective entourages, Kaiza grabbed Goku's arm. Are you trying to get yourself killed? You can't speak to Lord Frost like that. Trust me, I know his type better than anyone here, Goku said, his expression uncharacteristically serious. Showing fear just encourages him. It's not fear, it's protocol, she hissed. And you just put yourself directly in his sights. I was already there, Goku said, looking back at the crater. Just like I'm in the sights of whoever did this. That wasn't a random attack, that was a warning. Kaiza followed his gaze. A warning about what? I'm not sure yet, Goku admitted. But in my experience, when gods get involved, things get complicated fast. That night, Goku couldn't sleep. The strange energies of this new body made rest elusive, and his mind raced with questions. Who had attacked the council building? Why was he here? What exactly was a Devil King supposed to be? He stood on the balcony of his quarters, looking up at unfamiliar constellations above planet Vegeta. Somewhere out there was Earth, not his Earth, but this universe's version. Did it have its own Goku? Its own Bulma, Krillin, Chi-Chi? The thought made his chest ache with unexpected homesickness. A slight sound behind him made him turn. Kaiza stood in the doorway, no longer in her formal armor but in lighter training gear. Couldn't sleep either, he asked. She shook her head. Security sweeps. We found something you should see. She approached, holding out a small metal object. It looked like a coin, but with strange markings that seemed to shift as Goku examined it. It was in the rubble, untouched by the explosion, she explained. The markings are ancient Saiyan, pre-space age. What does it say? The false king brings the void, Kaiza translated, her voice uncharacteristically quiet. It's a warning from the old religion, before we became a spacefaring civilization. It refers to a prophecy about a false devil king who would destroy reality itself. Goku frowned. You think that's aimed at me? Someone who knows I'm not your real devil king? Or someone trying to make others believe you're not, Kaiza said. Either way, you're in danger. The trial of blood is still 6 days away, and someone wants you dead before then. Goku flipped the coin, catching it with surprisingly deft reflexes. Then I guess we'd better figure out who, before they try again. We? Kaiza raised an eyebrow. Unless you'd rather I bumble around on my own, probably causing interplanetary incidents, Goku replied with a grin. A reluctant smile tugged at her lips. You are strange, Kakarot, or Goku, or whatever you call yourself. I've never met a Saiyan who takes mortal danger so lightly. Not lightly, Goku corrected. Just, familiar territory for me. Kaiza studied him for a moment, then nodded decisively. Tomorrow, you begin proper training for the trial. If you're to survive, you need to at least appear to be the Devil King everyone expects. And after training? We investigate who wants the Devil King dead, and why they think you're a harbinger of doom. Dawn brought Prince Vegeta to the royal training grounds, where he found Goku already warming up. The prince dismissed his entourage with a wave, leaving just the two of them in the massive chamber. "I'm surprised you came alone," Goku commented. "In my universe, Vegeta usually preferred an audience when he thought he was about to win." The prince scowled. "You speak as if you know me, yet we've never met before yesterday. Another peculiarity to add to your growing list." Goku stretched casually. "Let's just say I've fought a version of you many times. Sometimes you won, sometimes I did. We pushed each other to get stronger." "Impossible," Vegeta snapped. "I'd remember fighting someone like you. Different universe, remember? My Vegeta was a proud, stubborn pain in the ass too, but eventually, he became one of my closest friends." The prince's face contorted with outrage. "Friends? A royal Saiyan prince, friends with a low-class warrior? Your universe must be truly backward." Goku laughed. "You'd be surprised how similar you two sound right now." Vegeta's patience evaporated. He launched himself at Goku with blinding speed, his fists surrounded by blue energy. Goku sidestepped, but not completely. Vegeta was faster than he expected in this universe. The glancing blows still sent Goku skidding across the floor. He recovered quickly, settling into his fighting stance with a smile that only infuriated the prince more. "Is this how you welcome all your legendary warriors?" Goku asked. "Only the ones I suspect are frauds," Vegeta replied, circling him. "The Devil King is said to possess power that dwarfs even the royal bloodline. Yet here you stand, barely able to dodge a simple attack." Goku's smile never wavered. "Maybe I'm just warming up." This time when Vegeta attacked, Goku was ready. He matched the prince's movements perfectly, blocking and countering with precision born from decades of fighting experience. What he lacked in familiarity with this body, he made up for in battle instinct. Vegeta grew increasingly frustrated as his attacks failed to land cleanly. He jumped back, breathing hard. "You fight like no Saiyan I've ever seen. I told you, different universe, different training. Enough games." Vegeta's aura flared around him. "Show me the Devil King's power." He gathered energy between his palms, a move Goku recognized immediately as the Gallic Gun. The familiar purple energy swelled to dangerous levels. "He's not holding back," Goku realized. "He's actually trying to kill me to prove I'm a fraud." The crimson energy that had been simmering within him surged forward, eager for release. This time, Goku didn't fight it. He let it mix with his ki, feeling a transformation that wasn't Super Saiyan but something else entirely. His aura erupted around him, gold at the core but wreathed in blood-red flames that crackled with black lightning. The ground beneath him cracked in a spiderweb pattern, and the air itself seemed to warp with pressure. Vegeta faltered momentarily, his eyes widening at the display of power. Gallic Gun. The prince fired his signature attack, the beam roaring toward Goku with enough power to level a mountain. Goku didn't dodge. He raised one hand and caught the blast, the energy splashing around him like water breaking against stone. With a casual flick of his wrist, he deflected it upward, where it crashed into the reinforced ceiling and dissipated. The training room fell silent except for the hum of Goku's aura and the falling debris from the damaged ceiling. "Is that devil enough for you?" Goku asked, his voice deeper, resonating with the strange power flowing through him. Vegeta stared, his expression a mixture of rage, disbelief, and, buried deep, fear. "How did you? That's impossible." Goku took a step forward, and the prince instinctively took one back. The movement seemed to snap Vegeta out of his shock. His face hardened into a mask of royal dignity. "Adequate," he said stiffly. "But the trial of blood will demand far more than party tricks." The doors to the training room burst open. Elite guards rushed in, followed by Kaiser and Lord Frost. "What happened?" Kaiser demanded, taking in the destruction and the standoff between Goku and Vegeta. We felt the energy spike across the entire complex. Frost glided forward, his eyes gleaming with interest as he observed Goku's transformed state. My. It seems the rumors of the Devil King's power weren't exaggerated after all. Goku let the crimson aura fade, though the energy remained just beneath the surface, easier to access now that he'd channeled it once. Just a friendly sparring session. Right, Vegeta? The prince's jaw worked silently for a moment before he managed, training for the trial continues as scheduled. The Devil King has demonstrated adequate control of his powers. Frost clapped his hands together in apparent delight. Splendid. Perhaps a demonstration for our visiting dignitaries? The ambassadors from the Galactic Coalition have arrived early, and they're ever so curious about Saiyan legends. No, Vegeta said sharply. The Devil King's abilities will be revealed fully at the trial, as tradition dictates. Of course, Frost agreed smoothly, though his eyes never left Goku. Tradition is so important. Speaking of which, I've brought traditional gifts from the Cold Empire to celebrate this historic occasion. He snapped his fingers, and his attendants brought forward an ornate chest. Ancient artifacts said to belong to the first Devil King, recovered from ruins on the outer planets. We thought they should be returned to their rightful owner. Goku approached cautiously, remembering all too well Frisia's penchant for deception. The chest contained what appeared to be ceremonial weapons, a sword, daggers, and bracers, all made of a strange black metal that seemed to absorb light. These are indeed ancient, Kaiser confirmed, examining the artifacts with expert eyes. Predating even our earliest historical records. A token of the continued friendship between our empires, Frost said with a bow that managed to be both respectful and somehow mocking. I look forward to witnessing your full power at the trial, Devil King. As Frost and his entourage departed, Vegeta lingered. Remember your position, he warned Goku quietly. Devil King or not, you are a guest in my kingdom until the trial confirms your identity. Cross me again, and friendship with the Cold Empire will be the least of your concerns. Once the prince had stalked away, Kaiser approached Goku. What was that power? It wasn't like anything in the ancient texts. It wasn't like anything I've felt before either, Goku admitted. It's similar to Super Saiyan, but darker. Wilder. Super Saiyan. Kaiser repeated. The legendary golden transformation. That's just a myth. Goku smiled. Not in my universe. Before he could elaborate, an attendant rushed in. Commander Kaiser. Urgent news from the orbital station, unusual energy signatures detected at the edge of the system. The readings match yesterday's attack. Kaiser's expression hardened. Prepare my ship. And, she glanced at Goku, ready the royal interceptor for the Devil King. We're going to space. Goku asked. You wanted to investigate who's trying to kill you, she replied. This might be our only chance to catch them in the act. Goku had never piloted a spacecraft before, but the Saiyan interceptor responded intuitively to his commands. The sleek, predatory vessel cut through planet Vegeta's atmosphere and into the darkness of space, following Kaiser's lead. These readings are bizarre, Kaiser's voice came through the communication system. Energy signatures that don't match any known species, appearing and disappearing from our sensors. Like they're phasing between realities, Goku suggested, remembering similar phenomena from his battles with godly beings. In my universe, only beings with divine ki could do that. We're approaching the coordinates. Maintain visual contact. As they neared the edge of the solar system, Goku saw it, a tear in space itself, pulsing with purple-black energy. It was small, perhaps only a few meters across, but the power emanating from it was immense. Is that a portal? Kaiser asked. Something like that, Goku replied, maneuvering closer. But it's unstable. Whatever's creating it doesn't have complete control. A beam of energy suddenly shot from the anomaly, narrowly. Missing Kaiser's ship. More followed, forcing them into evasive maneuvers. "They're targeting us specifically," Kaiza shouted. "Weapons free." Her ship returned fire, energy blasts disappearing into the rift without apparent effect. Goku banked hard to avoid another attack, bringing his ship around for a better view of their assailant. A figure emerged partially from the rift, humanoid but distorted, as if viewed through warped glass. It raised a hand, gathering energy that crackled with the same purple-black power as the rift itself. "Kaiza, break off," Goku warned, recognizing the build-up of an attack far beyond their ship's defensive capabilities. Too late. The entity released a wave of energy that engulfed Kaiza's vessel, sending it spinning away trailing debris and smoke. "Kaiza!" Goku shouted into the calm, no response. The crimson energy surged within him again, responding to his anger and concern. Without thinking, Goku hit the emergency hatch release, exposing himself to the vacuum of space. The Devil King's body, he discovered, was hardier than his original form. The vacuum was uncomfortable but not immediately fatal. He launched himself toward the rift, gathering the strange new power between his palms. The entity paused, seemingly surprised by his direct approach. "Kemikamiche." The crimson-streaked beam blasted from Goku's hands, tearing through space toward the rift. The entity raised a barrier that absorbed the attack, but the effort cost it control of the rift, which began to collapse. With a gesture that somehow conveyed both threat and promise, the figure retreated into the anomaly just before it sealed shut. Goku immediately changed course toward Kaiza's damaged ship. Using his energy to propel himself, he reached the vessel and forced open the emergency hatch. Inside, he found Kaiza unconscious but alive, blood streaming from a gash on her forehead. He gathered her in his arms and pushed off from the crippled ship, using his ki to create a protective bubble around them both as he headed back to his own vessel. The effort of maintaining the energy shield in space was enormous, taxing even his considerable strength. By the time they reached his ship and he secured them inside, Goku was gasping for breath. He activated the emergency medical systems and set a course back to planet Vegeta, his mind racing with questions about their mysterious attacker. One thing was clear: someone was targeting him specifically, someone with power that felt disturbingly familiar. But why? And what was the void mentioned in the prophecy? As the ship accelerated toward the planet, Kaiza stirred. Her eyes fluttered open, focusing slowly on Goku's concerned face. "You saved me," she said weakly. "How?" "We were in space." "Let's just say the Devil King has some tricks up his sleeve," Goku replied with a tired smile. "Rest. We'll be back soon." She caught his wrist with surprising strength. "The entity. I saw it before I lost consciousness. It was wearing Saiyan armor. Ancient design, but definitely ours." Goku's brow furrowed. "A Saiyan with godlike powers? Is that possible in this universe?" "Not for thousands of years," Kaiza murmured, her eyes drifting closed again. "Not since the first Devil King ascended to challenge the gods themselves." The return to planet Vegeta brought more questions than answers. While Kaiza recovered in the medical facility, Goku was summoned to an emergency session of the Council of Elders, the surviving members, at least. The chamber was imposing, carved from the same red stone as the temple where he'd awakened. 7 ancient Saiyans sat in a semicircle, their weathered faces showing the scars of countless battles. At the center sat a female Saiyan who had to be over 100 years old, yet her eyes remained sharp and calculating. "Devil King," she greeted, her voice surprisingly strong. "I am Elder Salada, head of this council. We have reviewed Commander Kaiza's preliminary report of the space anomaly. Disturbing, to say the least." Goku bowed respectfully, having been coached by Kaiza on proper protocol. "The entity seemed to be specifically targeting me, or rather, the Devil King." "Yes," Salada agreed. "Which raises questions about your identity and the timing of your arrival." Another elder, a one-eyed male with a cybernetic replacement, leaned forward. The ancient texts speak of a time when the boundaries between realms would weaken, allowing both the true Devil King and other entities to cross over. What kind of entities? Goku asked. The Void Watchers, Salada answered gravely. Beings who exist between universes, maintaining the barriers that separate realities. If you truly came from another universe, as you've claimed privately to Commander Kaiza, your presence here may have attracted their attention. Goku felt a chill. They think I don't belong here. Precisely, Salada confirmed. And they may be right. The ritual was meant to summon the soul of our world's Devil King, not import one from another reality entirely. So what does that mean? Goku asked. What happens if I'm not your Devil King? The council members exchanged glances. Finally, the one-eyed elder spoke. Legend says a false Devil King brings the collapse of reality itself, the void consuming all existence. That sounds bad, Goku said with characteristic understatement. But I didn't ask to be brought here. Your ritual pulled me from my universe after I died there. Perhaps, Salada conceded. Or perhaps something else guided your soul to intercept our summoning. The timing is suspicious. Before Goku could respond, the chamber doors burst open. Lord Frost glided in, flanked by his guards and a nervous-looking Saiyan attendant. Forgive the intrusion, Frost said with false contrition. But I've just received the most alarming intelligence from my sources in the outer systems. Salada's eyes narrowed. The council is in closed session, Lord Frost. I wouldn't dream of interrupting if it weren't directly relevant to your current predicament. Frost's eyes slid to Goku. My deep space monitoring stations have detected multiple rifts forming throughout the sector, all emitting the same energy signature as the one your Devil King encountered. Murmurs spread through the council. Moreover, Frost continued, ancient records from the Cold Empire archives suggest these rifts precede a phenomenon known as reality decay, essentially, the collapse of the universe itself. And you're sharing this out of the goodness of your heart? Goku asked skeptically. Frost smiled thinly. The void would consume my empire just as thoroughly as yours, Devil King. Self-preservation makes for strange alliances. What do you propose? Salada demanded. My scientists have developed technology that might help stabilize these rifts, Frost replied. But they require special energy to activate. Energy only the Devil King possesses. Goku crossed his arms. You want to use my power? That's convenient. Suspicious, certainly, Frost agreed with unexpected candor. But necessity often is. The alternative is waiting for these rifts to multiply until reality itself tears apart. The council deliberated briefly before Salada turned to Goku. The decision rests with you, Devil King. You claim to be from another universe, perhaps that gives you unique perspective on this threat. All eyes turned to Goku. He thought of Kaiza's words about the first Devil King challenging the gods, of the strange entity in Saiyan armor, and of the crimson power that felt both foreign and somehow rightfully his. I'll work with Lord Frost's scientists, he decided, but under Saiyan's supervision. And I want Kaiza involved once she's recovered. Commander Kaiza is awake and demanding to be released from medical, an attendant announced from the doorway, as if on cue. Goku couldn't help but smile. Tell her to stay put. I'll come to her. Salada nodded approvingly. A wise compromise. Lord Frost, you may establish your equipment in the secure research facility beneath the royal palace. The Devil King will join you there after he's consulted with Commander Kaiza. As the meeting adjourned, Goku felt Frost's calculating gaze following him. He'd dealt with Frieza enough to recognize the predatory assessment in those eyes. The Cold Empire ruler was playing his own game, one that likely had little to do with saving reality. But right now, Goku had more immediate concerns. Like figuring out why the entity that attacked them wore ancient Saiyan armor, and what that meant for his presence in this universe. Kaiza was indeed attempting to leave her medical bed when Goku arrived. She looked up, her usual stern expression softened slightly by relief at seeing him. Finally. These doctors think a simple concussion requires bed rest. She swung her legs over the side, wincing slightly. What did the council decide? To work with Frost, cautiously, Goku replied, pulling up a chair. But something else is bothering me. You said the entity wore ancient Saiyan armor. Kaiza nodded. Similar to depictions of warriors from before our first space age. And it felt familiar somehow. Like the Devil King energy. Similar but corrupted, she confirmed. Like it was once the same power but became twisted. Goku thought for a moment. In my universe, there were godlike beings who maintained balance between realities. If this Void Watcher is something similar, maybe it's connected to the Devil King somehow. The first king, Kaiza said suddenly. The legends say he didn't die but ascended to challenge the gods themselves. She looked at Goku intently. What if he succeeded? What if the entity we saw was the original Devil King, corrupted by existence between realities? The idea sent a chill through Goku. And now he's trying to prevent another Devil King from appearing by killing me? Or he wants something from you specifically, Kaiza suggested. Your arrival tore open the barriers between realities. Maybe that's exactly what he needed. Before Goku could respond, alarms blared throughout the medical facility. Kaiza was on her feet instantly, grabbing her armor from beside the bed. Perimeter breach, she explained, checking her communicator. Multiple hostiles entering the royal district. They rushed to the window in time to see energy blasts lighting up the night sky. Ships of unfamiliar design strafed the capital's defenses, while ground forces engaged with Saiyan warriors in the streets. Those aren't Cold Empire vessels, Kaiza said, strapping on her armor. They're not any known design. Goku sensed the energy signatures of the attackers and frowned. They feel empty somehow. Like they're not fully in this reality. A massive explosion rocked the building. Through the window, they saw a portion of the royal palace collapse in flames. The prince, Kaiza gasped. That's the royal residence wing. Without hesitation, Goku focused on Vegeta's key signature. It was faint but present, surrounded by chaotic energy patterns. He's alive, but in trouble. We need to, Kaiza began, but Goku was already moving. Stay here until you're fully recovered, he called over his shoulder. I've got this. Before she could protest, he was gone, racing through corridors and leaping down stairwells with inhuman speed. Outside, he took to the air, the crimson aura flaring around him as he soared toward the damaged palace wing. The scene was chaos. Royal guards battled what looked like shadows given solid form, humanoid figures in ancient armor similar to what Kaiza had described, but their features were blurred and shifting, as if they weren't fully materialized. Goku blasted through a group of them, noting with surprise that they dissolved into wisps of purple-black energy rather than leaving bodies behind. Not physical beings at all, he realized. More like energy constructs. He followed Vegeta's weakening key signature to a collapsed chamber where the prince was pinned beneath a fallen column, still fighting despite his predicament. 3 shadow warriors advanced on him, weapons raised. Hey! Goku shouted, drawing their attention. Looking for me? The shadow warriors turned in unison, their featureless faces somehow conveying recognition. They abandoned Vegeta and charged Goku instead, confirming his suspicion that he was their primary target. The crimson energy responded eagerly to his call, enveloping him in its wild power. Goku met the attackers head-on, discovering that while they were formidable, they lacked the creativity and adaptability of true warriors. Their movements were precise but predictable. He dispatched them efficiently, learning that concentrated energy attacks dissolved their forms completely. With the immediate threat eliminated, he turned his attention to Vegeta. Need a hand, Prince? He asked, approaching the pinned Saiyan. Vegeta glared up at him. I had the situation under control. Sure you did. Goku braced himself and lifted the massive column, allowing Vegeta to pull himself free. "Friends of yours?" "They appeared from nowhere," Vegeta said, wincing as he tested his injured leg. "No warning, no demands, just attacked without speaking." He looked at Goku with reluctant respect. "They seemed particularly interested in your quarters." "They're after me," Goku confirmed. "Or rather, what I represent." More explosions rocked the city. Goku sensed a massive concentration of the strange energy at the center of the royal district, right where the ritual temple stood. "The temple," he said. "That's their real target. They're going after the ritual site." Vegeta straightened despite his injury. "My father performed the first summoning ritual there centuries ago. It's sacred ground. It's also where the barrier between realities is thinnest," Goku surmised. "We need to get there now." "We?" Vegeta raised an eyebrow. "Unless you'd rather sit this one out with that leg," Goku replied with a challenging grin. The prince's eyes narrowed, but a reluctant smirk tugged at his lips. "Try to keep up, Devil King." The temple was under siege when they arrived. Shadow warriors battled Saiyan defenders on the steps, while a larger figure hovered above, the same entity they'd encountered in space, now fully materialized in ancient royal Saiyan armor. Energy crackled around it as it systematically destroyed the temple's outer defenses. "By the gods," Vegeta breathed. "That armor, it's from the Age of Ascension." "The first Devil King?" Goku asked. Vegeta nodded grimly. "According to legend." They landed at the perimeter, immediately engaging shadow warriors to clear a path to the temple entrance. Fighting alongside Vegeta felt strangely familiar to Goku, their styles complementing each other despite their different origins. "Not bad for a soft Devil King," Vegeta commented as they stood back to back, fending off attacks. "You're not so bad yourself." "For a prince," Goku replied, blasting another wave of shadows. A familiar voice called from above, "Save the bonding for later." Kaiza descended, fully armored and looking battle-ready despite her injuries. She landed beside them, dispatching 2 shadow warriors with efficient strikes. "The entity is trying to reach the ritual chamber beneath the temple." "Why? What's there?" Goku asked. "The Nexus Stone," Vegeta answered. "The artifact that allows the Devil King's soul to cross between realms." Understanding dawned on Goku. If it destroys that, no future Devil Kings could be summoned. Or worse, Kaiza added. It could use the stone to tear open reality permanently. The entity above seemed to notice their arrival. It paused its assault on the temple and turned slowly to face them, its features becoming clear for the first time. Though distorted by time and power, the face was unmistakably Saiyan, proud, fierce, and ancient beyond reckoning. "The false king," it said, its voice resonating oddly, as if speaking from multiple throats simultaneously. "The anomaly must be corrected." It descended, landing before them with a shock wave that cracked the stone steps. Up close, its armor showed intricate designs similar to those on the artifacts Frost had presented, and its eyes glowed with the same purple-black energy as the rifts. "I'm guessing you're the original Devil King," Goku said, settling into his fighting stance. "Mind explaining why you're trying to kill me?" "You do not belong," the entity replied. "Your presence destabilizes the boundaries between realities. The void consumes all in your wake." "Didn't ask to be here," Goku pointed out. "Your people summoned me." "They summoned the Devil King," the entity corrected. "But you are not him. You are an anomaly, a soul from another reality drawn to the power but unworthy to wield it." Vegeta stepped forward. "If he's a false Devil King, then why did the ritual accept him? Why does he command the Crimson Flame?" The entity's gaze shifted to Vegeta. "The ritual was corrupted. The barriers between realities have weakened over millennia. The flame responds to power, not legitimacy. And you're here to what? Fix the mistake?" Goku asked. "By destroying the temple and killing me?" "By reclaiming what is mine," the entity replied. The power of the Devil King belongs to me alone. I ascended to guard the boundaries between worlds, not to have pretenders take my mantle. It raised a hand, gathering energy that warped the air around it. Your existence ends now, anomaly. Goku barely had time to raise his defenses before the blast hit, more powerful than anything he'd faced in this new body. It drove him backward, carving a trench through the stone steps as he struggled to contain it. Vegeta and Kaiza attacked from both sides, but the entity batted them away effortlessly while maintaining its assault on Goku. You cannot win, it stated flatly. I have existed between realities for eons. I have witnessed the birth and death of universes. What are you compared to that? The crimson energy within Goku roared in response to the challenge, surging outward to meet the entity's attack. I'm just a guy who doesn't give up easily, he replied through gritted teeth. With a massive effort, he redirected the energy skyward, where it exploded in a flash that momentarily turned night to day. Before the entity could react, Goku closed the distance between them, driving a ki-enhanced fist into its armored chest. To his surprise, his hand passed partially through, as if the entity wasn't fully solid. It grabbed his wrist, its touch burning with cold energy. You possess potential, anomaly, it admitted. In another life, you might have been worthy of the flame. Still might be, Goku replied, calling on the Devil King power that had been growing more accessible with each battle. The crimson aura erupted around him, pushing back against the entity's grasp. For the first time, uncertainty flickered across the ancient Saiyan's features. Impossible. The flame cannot serve two masters. Maybe it's not about mastery, Goku suggested, remembering lessons learned across his many battles. Maybe it's about harmony. He focused inward, not fighting the crimson energy but fully embracing it, allowing it to merge completely with his ki in a way he hadn't dared before. The transformation that followed wasn't like Super Saiyan, it was deeper, more fundamental, as if his very soul was aligning with this universe's energy. His aura stabilized into a steady crimson flame outlined in gold, and the pain of the entity's touch faded. With newfound strength, he broke free of its grasp and countered with a combination of strikes that drove it backward. You adapt quickly, the entity observed, genuine surprise in its voice. But adaptation isn't mastery. It unleashed a barrage of energy that Goku couldn't completely avoid. Blasts tore through his armor and seared his skin, but he pressed forward, determined to reach the entity before it could recover. A familiar voice cut through the chaos, Devil King. Catch! Kaiza had recovered and now threw something toward him, one of the ancient weapons from Frost's gift, the black metal sword that had absorbed light. Goku caught it instinctively, and the blade immediately resonated with his crimson energy, glowing with the same power. The void blade, the entity gasped. How? Goku didn't question the weapon's significance. He charged, infusing the blade with his ki as naturally as if he'd been doing it his entire life. When it connected with the entity's armor, the black metal passed through the spectral defenses that had resisted physical attacks. The entity howled, a sound that seemed to come from everywhere at once. It staggered backward, purple-black energy leaking from the wound like blood. This changes nothing, it snarled. The void still comes. Your presence still corrupts reality. It gestured upward, and Goku saw rifts beginning to open in the sky above planet Vegeta, dozens of them, leaking the same destructive energy. You've accelerated the process, the entity continued. This world will be consumed first, then the galaxy, then all of reality. Not if I can help it, Goku replied, readying the blade for another attack. The entity laughed, a hollow, echoing sound. You cannot. Only the true Devil King has the power to seal the rifts, and you are not him. Maybe not, Goku acknowledged. But I'm what you've got. A slow clap interrupted the confrontation. Goku turned to see Lord Frost approaching, flanked by his elite guards and what appeared to be scientific personnel carrying equipment. Magnificent, the Cold Empire ruler exclaimed. The legendary First King and the anomalous newcomer, battling for the fate of reality itself. This exceeds my wildest expectations. The entity's attention shifted to Frost, its expression changing to one of recognition. Harbinger. You still serve the void. Frost bowed with elaborate courtesy. Always, my lord. As my family has for generations. Goku looked between them, realization dawning. You're working with it. You knew about all this. Not working with, precisely, Frost corrected. More, facilitating an inevitable process. The void between realities hungers, Devil King. It requires, feeding. The rifts, Kaiza said, joining them with Vegeta at her side. Your scientists weren't trying to close them, they were trying to stabilize them for some purpose. Energy extraction, Frost confirmed. The void energy is the purest power source in existence. My empire has harnessed it for centuries, in small amounts. But with the barriers weakening. His eyes gleamed with ambition. The potential is limitless. The entity regarded Frost with something like contempt. Fool. You cannot control the void. You merely delay your own consumption. Perhaps, Frost agreed. But one can accumulate considerable power before that day comes. He gestured to his scientists. Now, if you'd be so kind, we require a sample of the Devil King's energy, either of you will do, really, to complete our stabilization process. Vegeta stepped forward, blood streaming from a gash on his forehead but his royal bearing intact. You dare betray the Saiyan Empire? After centuries of alliance. Betray implies loyalty existed, Frost replied with a shrug. Let's call it, renegotiating our arrangement in light of cosmic developments. The entity seemed to come to a decision. The anomaly is your problem now, Harbinger. I will seal the primary rifts to slow the decay, but the void still comes. It turned to Goku. You have potential, false king. Find the true heir before reality unravels completely. Before anyone could respond, it shot upward toward the largest rift, disappearing into the tear in reality. The shadow warriors throughout the temple grounds dissipated like smoke in the wind. Frost sighed dramatically. How inconvenient. Well, I suppose we'll have to proceed with Plan B. At his signal, his guards activated devices on their wrists, an energy shield sprang up around their group, cutting them off from Goku and the others. A portable reality bubble, Frost explained. Temporarily isolated from the decay affecting your world. Handy, isn't it? He smiled coldly. Now, about that energy sample. His guards raised weapons designed to drain and store energy. Goku readied himself for another fight, despite his injuries from battling the entity. You're making a mistake, he warned Frost. If what the entity said is true, we need to be working together to find a solution. Oh, I have a solution, Frost replied. Contain the void energy, harness it, and let the rest sort itself out. The Cold Empire will survive in our protected enclaves while the rest of reality adjusts. Not happening, Goku stated flatly. He looked to Vegeta and Kaiza, who moved to flank him without needing instructions. Despite their differences, in this moment, they were united against a common threat. Frost seemed amused by their defiance. 3 injured warriors against my elite guard and their void tech. The odds are hardly sporting. I've had worse, Goku replied with a grin that made Frost's smile falter slightly. The confrontation was interrupted by a massive tremor that shook the entire temple complex. Above them, the rifts the entity had entered began to shrink, but others were forming elsewhere, larger and more unstable. It's starting, Kaiza said grimly. Reality decay. Frost checked a device on his wrist, his composed demeanor cracking slightly. Sooner than anticipated. No matter. We'll accelerate our timeline. He nodded to his chief scientist, who activated a larger device. A beam shot upward, connecting with one of the rifts. Instead of closing it, the beam seemed to stabilize and widen the tear. What are you doing? Goku demanded. Creating a controlled extraction point, Frost explained. The void energy will be channeled through our equipment rather than randomly destabilizing the planet. Vegeta laughed darkly. You mean sacrificing our world to save your own skin? A crude but essentially accurate assessment, Frost agreed. Nothing personal, Prince Vegeta. Cosmic evolution simply favors the adaptable. Goku felt the temple trembling beneath them as the void energy began flowing down through Frost's device. The air itself seemed to be thinning, reality becoming less substantial around them. Kaiza, he said quietly, the Nexus stone in the ritual chamber, could it help close the rifts? She considered quickly. Possibly. It's designed to create stable pathways between realms. If reconfigured, it might seal the tears instead. Worth a shot, Goku decided. To Vegeta, he added, can you handle Frost and his goons while we go for the stone? The prince smirked, igniting his aura despite his injuries. With pleasure. Frost must have overheard, because he immediately redirected his guards. Stop them. The stone must not be activated. Goku and Kaiza raced for the temple entrance while Vegeta engaged Frost's forces. The void blade still hummed with energy in Goku's hand, resonating more strongly as they approached the ancient structure. The blade, Kaiza said as they ran. It's attuned to the stone somehow. The entity called it the void blade, Goku recalled. Maybe it's meant to interact with the boundaries between realities. They reached the inner sanctum where Goku had first awakened in this world. The altar at the center now glowed with pulsing energy, responding to the chaos outside. There, Kaiza pointed to a crystalline object embedded in the altar, the Nexus stone, a multifaceted gem the size of a fist, swirling with colors that hurt the eyes to look at directly. As they approached, the stone's glow intensified, and the void blade in Goku's hand grew almost painfully hot. The connection between the artifacts was undeniable. I think I know what to do, Goku said, raising the blade. But I need time. Can you hold the entrance? Kaiza nodded, taking up position at the chamber doorway. Make it quick. This place is coming apart. She wasn't exaggerating. Parts of the temple were literally fading from existence, becoming transparent as the void energy eroded reality around them. Goku approached the altar, feeling the crimson power responding to the Nexus stone. He raised the blade and, acting on instinct, plunged it directly into the heart of the stone. The resulting energy surge knocked him backward, but he held on to the hilt, channeling his ki through it into the stone. Images flashed through his mind, memories not his own, of the first Devil King ascending to challenge gods, of battles between realities, of the slow corruption that turned protector to destroyer. He understood suddenly what had happened. The original Devil King had indeed ascended to guard the boundaries between realities, but isolation in the void had twisted his purpose over millennia. The ritual that summoned Goku was meant to bring a new guardian to replace the corrupted one, not necessarily the same soul, but one with the potential to take up the mantle. I get it now, Goku murmured. I'm not the Devil King because I wasn't born in this universe. But I can still use the power for what it was meant for. He focused his energy, not just the crimson flame of the Devil King but his own ki as well, the unique energy that had defined his journey across his many battles. The combination created something new, a harmony between realities rather than a clash. The Nexus stone responded, its chaotic swirl of colors stabilizing into a steady pulse that matched Goku's heartbeat. Through the blade, he could feel the rifts outside, sense their placement and instability. One by one, he began to close them, using the stone's power to mend the tears in reality. Each closure was like stitching a wound, requiring precision and concentration. Sweat poured down his face with the effort, but he continued, drawing on reserves of strength developed through a lifetime of pushing beyond limits. Outside, he sensed a massive battle unfolding, Vegeta against Frost's forces, joined now by other Saiyan warriors who had rallied to their prince's side. The void energy extraction had been disrupted, forcing Frost to engage directly rather than hiding behind his technology. Kaiza defended the chamber entrance fiercely, preventing Frost's remaining agents from interrupting the process. Through his connection to the Nexus Stone, Goku felt her unwavering determination, her absolute commitment to protecting him while he worked, not out of duty now, but something more personal. The final and largest rift, the one the entity had entered, resisted his efforts to close it completely. Through the connection, Goku sensed the ancient Devil King on the other side, still trying to maintain some control over the void energy. "Let go," Goku communicated through the blade. "You've done enough. Let me finish this." He felt resistance, then reluctant acknowledgement. "You are not what I expected, anomaly." Perhaps that is what was needed after all. The entity's hold on the rift relaxed, allowing Goku to begin the final closure. As he did, he felt something transferring through the connection, knowledge, power, memories spanning millennia. The original Devil King was passing on his mantle, not through ritual but through direct transmission. The strain was enormous. Goku's body trembled with the effort of containing the influx of power while maintaining his focus on sealing the rift. Just when he thought he might lose control, he felt a hand on his shoulder. Kaiza stood beside him, adding her own energy to the effort. "Not alone," she said simply. Another hand joined from the other side, Vegeta, bloody but unbowed from his battle with Frost. "Finish it, Devil King," the prince commanded, though the title held new respect. Their combined energy flowed through Goku into the blade and stone, creating a perfect resonance that finally sealed the last rift with a thunderous crack that shook the entire planet. A shock wave of energy burst outward, restoring the faded portions of reality and clearing the unnatural darkness that had begun to descend. As the blade cooled in his hand, Goku slumped forward, caught by Kaiza before he could hit the ground. The transfer of power and memories continued to settle within him, integrating with his existing abilities in ways he'd need time to fully understand. "Did we win?" he asked weakly. "The rifts are closed," Kaiza confirmed. "Reality seems to be stabilizing." "And Frost?" Goku looked to Vegeta. The prince's expression was grim satisfaction. "Let's just say the Cold Empire will need new leadership." Goku nodded, too exhausted to press for details. "The trial of blood, it's tomorrow, right?" Vegeta and Kaiza exchanged glances. "I think," Vegeta said slowly, "given the circumstances, we can consider the trial passed." Kaiza helped Goku to his feet. "The council will need to formalize it, but saving reality from collapse probably qualifies you as Devil King material." Goku managed a tired smile. "Good. Because I think I'm just getting started here." As they made their way from the temple into the dawn breaking over planet Vegeta, Goku sensed the changes within himself, the integration of the Devil King's power with his own, the connections to this new reality solidifying, and the possibilities stretching out before him. This wasn't his original world, but maybe, just maybe, it was where he was meant to be now. The crimson flame within him burned steady and strong, no longer feeling foreign but like a natural extension of himself. Whatever came next, rebuilding from the attack, establishing his role in this universe, dealing with the political fallout from Frost's betrayal, he would face it as both Goku and the Devil King. And he wouldn't face it alone. Chapter 2, Empire of Ashes. 6 months into his reign as the Devil King, Goku stood on the balcony of his royal quarters, watching Saiyan spar in the training grounds below. He'd traded his Earth-style GI for a modified version of the traditional royal armor, still black and crimson, but redesigned for better mobility. A cloak of deep red draped from his shoulders, marking his station. "Still can't sleep?" Kaiza asked, joining him at the railing. Goku shook his head. "The memories keep coming. Not just the original Devil Kings, but others, all the previous incarnations. Sometimes I wake up thinking I've lived for thousands of years." "In a way, you have," Kaiza replied. In the months since the temple battle, she'd shed some of her initial rigidity. Her armor remained impeccable, but she'd grown her hair longer, tied back in a warrior's braid. More significantly, she'd accepted the position of royal commander, the Devil King's right hand. "Anything interesting in today's batch of memories?" she asked, leaning against the balcony. Goku turned to face her. The third Devil King, she led an exodus from the original Saiyan homeworld when their son began to die. Found planet Vegeta and established the colony that grew into this empire. History says King Vegeta's ancestor discovered this planet, Kaiza noted. History written by Vegetus, Goku replied with a grin. Though to be fair, he helped. They worked together. Kaiza smiled slightly. Speaking of our prince, he's requested your presence at today's council meeting. The diplomatic envoys leave for the Arcosia system tomorrow, and he wants to coordinate strategies, whatever that means. Goku groaned. More politics. I'd rather be training. You've improved. Kaiza nudged his shoulder. 6 months ago, you couldn't sit through a 10-minute briefing without mentioning food. I still mention food, Goku protested. Just, strategically. Their comfortable banter was interrupted by the arrival of a messenger, one of Vegeta's personal guards, bearing the royal insignia. Devil King, the guard announced with a formal bow, Prince Vegeta requests your immediate attendance in the war chamber. The situation in the Arcosia system has evolved. Goku exchanged a glance with Kaiza. Evolved, in Saiyan diplomatic language usually meant, gone horribly wrong. We'll be right there, he replied. As the guard departed, he sighed. So much for a quiet morning. Kaiza was already retrieving her commander's cape. You expected ruling an interstellar empire to be quiet? No, but I hoped for at least one day without a crisis. Goku strapped the void blade to his hip, he rarely went anywhere without it now. The weapon had become an extension of his power, useful not just in combat but in sensing disturbances in reality. As they walked through the palace corridors, Saiyan warriors and attendants bowed respectfully, though Goku noticed the lingering skepticism in some eyes. Despite his victory at the temple and formal recognition by the Council of Elders, many still questioned his methods. The Devil King was traditionally a conqueror, a destroyer who expanded the empire through force. Goku's emphasis on defense and diplomacy confused many traditional Saiyans. The war chamber occupied the highest tower of the rebuilt royal palace, a circular room with a massive holographic display at its center. Prince Vegeta stood studying the projection of star systems, his posture tense. In the months since their confrontation with Frost, the prince had gradually shifted from overt hostility to grudging cooperation. The death of the Cold Empire ruler had created a power vacuum that threatened Saiyan territories, forcing them to work together. About time, Vegeta said without looking up. The Arcosian situation has deteriorated. Goku approached the display, where a planet glowed red amid a cluster of star systems. What happened? I thought Frost's successor agreed to peace talks. Lady Rhyme agreed, Vegeta confirmed, but it appears not everyone in the Cold Empire shares her diplomatic inclinations. Our outpost on Arcos Prime was attacked 3 hours ago by forces bearing Cold Empire insignia. Kaiza studied the tactical data. Casualties? Minimal. The outpost commander saw them coming and evacuated non-essential personnel. Vegeta manipulated the display to show a fleet formation. But they've blockaded the system. Our diplomatic envoys will fly straight into an ambush if they proceed as scheduled. So we cancel the mission, Goku suggested. Vegeta's jaw tightened. And show weakness? The moment we back down, every power in the sector will test our resolve. The diplomats go, with enhanced protection. Goku recognized the familiar stubborn set of Vegeta's shoulders. Some things remained constant across universes. You're suggesting I go with them? You catch on quick for a peaceful warrior, Vegeta replied with mild sarcasm. Yes. The presence of the Devil King should give Lady Rhyme's rebellious commanders pause. Or provoke them further, Kaiza pointed out. The Devil King's reputation precedes him. Exactly, Vegeta said. Fear can be a powerful deterrent. Goku considered the situation. Over the past months, He'd learned to balance his natural inclinations with the expectations of his position. Sometimes the mere threat of the Devil King's power accomplished more than actually using it. "I'll go," he decided. "But not to intimidate, to protect our people and open dialogue. If these are rogue elements in the Cold Empire, Lady Rhyme might appreciate our help dealing with them." Vegeta scoffed. "Always looking for alliances when conquest would be simpler. Says the prince who hasn't won a single sparring match against me," Goku replied with a grin. A reluctant smirk crossed Vegeta's face. 14 matches. And I came close in the last one. Close only counts in Nova Ball and planetary bombardment, Goku quipped, using a Saiyan saying he'd picked up. Kaiza cleared her throat. "If you two are finished with your rivalry, we need to prepare. The diplomatic vessel leaves at dawn." Vegeta nodded, becoming serious again. "Take the Royal Guard Squadron. Elite warriors only. And Kaiza," he fixed her with a pointed look, "make sure our Devil King remembers he represents the Saiyan Empire, not just his own ideals." "I'll keep him in line," Kaiza promised, ignoring Goku's mock-offended expression. As they left the war chamber, Goku nudged her. "You know, 6 months ago you would have added 'my prince' to that promise and meant every word. 6 months ago, I hadn't seen you face down a corrupted Devil King and save reality," she replied. Then, with a sidelong glance, "Besides, someone needs to stop you from offering peace treaties to everyone who tries to kill you." Goku laughed. "That happened once. The Tuffles on Vendor 4. The Heron Assassins. That strange creature in the Yardrat Nebula. Okay, 3 times, Goku conceded as they headed to the Royal Armory to prepare for the mission. "But I was right each time." Kaiza shook her head, but her eyes held genuine warmth. "Yes, you were. Just, try not to make a habit of it tomorrow." The diplomatic vessel Saiyan Pride cut through the darkness of space, its sleek design belying the heavy weaponry concealed within its hull. Around it flew a protective formation of fighter craft, piloted by the most elite warriors in the Royal Guard. Goku stood on the observation deck, gazing at the stars. The vastness of space still amazed him, even after months of occasional interstellar travel. In his original universe, he'd used instant transmission to traverse such distances instantly. Here, lacking that technique, he'd gained a new appreciation for the scale of the cosmos. "Beautiful, isn't it?" asked Ambassador Kale, joining him at the viewport. The elderly Saiyan had served as a diplomat for decades, one of the few of their race who preferred words to fists, though rumors of his younger exploits suggested he'd once been a formidable warrior. "It is," Goku agreed. "Different from the stars I grew up with, but beautiful in their own way." Kale studied him curiously. "You speak often of your other universe. Do you miss it?" Goku considered the question. "I miss my friends. My sons. The life I built there." He turned to face the ambassador. "But I'm starting to feel like I belong here too, in a strange way. Like maybe this is where I was meant to end up." "The Devil King has always belonged to our people," Kale said. "Though I must admit, you're not what the legends prepared us for." "Too friendly?" Goku asked with a smile. "Too wise," Kale replied seriously. "The Devil King of legend was power incarnate, but you understand that power alone doesn't solve everything. It's refreshing." Their conversation was interrupted by Kaiza's arrival. She wore her full ceremonial armor for the diplomatic mission, though Goku noted she'd ensured it wouldn't restrict her movement in battle. "We're approaching the Arcosia system," she reported. Long-range scanners confirm the blockade is still in place. 8 capital ships, dozens of smaller vessels. Ambassador Kale frowned. "That's more than a rogue faction, that's nearly half the Cold Empire fleet." "Either Lady Rhyme lied about wanting peace," Kaiza suggested, "or she's lost control of her military." Goku focused, extending his senses as he'd learned to do with the Devil King's power. The crimson energy allowed him to perceive disturbances not just in reality but in living energy, intentions, deceptions, threats. "Something's not right," he said slowly. "There's a shadow over this whole situation. Like someone's pulling strings from behind the scenes." Kaiser had learned not to dismiss his instincts. "What kind of shadow?" Before Goku could elaborate, alarms blared throughout the ship. The captain's voice came over the comm system, "Unknown energy signature detected. All hands to battle stations." The view screen activated, showing what had triggered the alert, a small rift opening directly in the path of their vessel, pulsing with the now familiar purple-black energy of the void. "Impossible," Kaiser breathed. "You sealed all the rifts." "I sealed the ones I could find," Goku corrected, already moving toward the bridge. "But if someone's deliberately creating new ones?" The ship rocked violently as energy burst from the rift, striking their shields. More alarms joined the cacophony. "Shield breach in sectors 3 and 4, reported a frantic technician as Goku and Kaiser reached the bridge. "We're venting atmosphere. Evasive maneuvers," Kaiser commanded, assuming control with practiced ease. "Get us away from that rift." The captain complied, but as the ship banked hard to port, more rifts appeared, surrounding them in a carefully orchestrated trap. Energy beams lanced out, targeting their engines and weapon systems with suspicious precision. "They knew exactly where to hit us," Goku observed grimly. "This isn't random, it's an ambush using void technology." Through the viewport, they could see their escort fighters engaging mysterious craft that seemed to phase in and out of reality, making them nearly impossible to target. Several Saiyan vessels had already been destroyed, their debris floating silently in space. "We need to reach the escape pods," Ambassador Kale urged, coughing as smoke filled the bridge from damaged consoles. "The diplomatic mission is lost." Another blast rocked the ship, more devastating than the previous ones. The lights flickered and died, emergency systems activating with a dull red glow. "Engine core breach," the captain reported, his face illuminated by the warning lights of his console. "We have minutes at most." Goku made a decision. "Get everyone to the escape pods. Kaiser and I will buy you time." "How?" Kaiser demanded. "We're surrounded by void rifts, outgunned, and, trust me," Goku replied with a confidence that silenced her objections. He'd spent months not just learning to control the Devil King's power, but expanding it, combining it with techniques from his original universe. As the bridge crew evacuated, Goku moved to the shattered viewport where the vacuum of space was held at bay only by a failing emergency force field. He unsheathed the void blade, which hummed with responsive energy. "What are you doing?" Kaiser asked, remaining at his side despite the evacuation order. "Something probably stupid," Goku admitted with a grin that reminded her of their first meeting. "The void blade doesn't just seal rifts, it can create stable passages between points in space. At least, that's what the memories suggest." Understanding dawned on Kaiser's face. "You're going to create an escape route." "Exactly. But I need you to watch my back. The concentration required leaves me vulnerable." Without hesitation, Kaiser drew her own weapon, a traditional Saiyan staff that channeled ki into devastating energy attacks. "Nothing will touch you." Goku nodded gratefully, then plunged the void blade into the failing force field. Instead of breaching it completely, the blade created a controlled tear, a doorway between realities that bypassed normal space. Through it, they could see the distant curve of Arcos Prime, far beyond the blockade. "Ambassador," Goku called. "Direct the escape pods through this portal. It will take them directly to the planet's surface." Kale stared in amazement but quickly relayed the instructions. Soon, escape pods were streaming through Goku's artificial rift, bypassing both the blockade and the attacking void ships. Maintaining the portal taxed even Goku's considerable strength. Sweat beaded on his forehead as he channeled power through the blade, fighting the natural instability of the void energy. Behind him, Kaiser defended against boarding parties that had breached the lower decks, mysterious soldiers in armor reminiscent of the Shadow Warriors from the temple battle, but more substantial. Last pod away. Kale reported as he prepared to board the final escape vessel. Devil King, Commander, there's room for you. Go. Kaiza shouted, fending off 3 attackers simultaneously. We'll follow. The ambassador hesitated but obeyed, the final pod disappearing through the portal. No sooner had it vanished than a massive explosion tore through the ship's midsection, separating the bridge from the rest of the vessel. Goku's concentration wavered, the portal fluctuating dangerously. Kaiza, we need to go now. She fought her way to his side, bleeding from a gash across her shoulder. Too many of them. A shadowy figure larger than the others emerged onto the bridge, a commander of some sort, wielding void energy as a weapon. With a gesture, it sent Kaiza flying across the room, crashing into a control panel with bone-breaking force. Kaiza! Goku's shout was drowned by the sound of the ship tearing itself apart around them. The Void Commander approached, its features resolving into a face that sent a chill through Goku. It resembled Frost, but distorted, as if the former Cold Empire ruler had been partially absorbed by the void itself. The anomaly, it said in a voice that echoed oddly, like multiple voices speaking together. The Watchers send their regards. Goku didn't wait for more. Channeling power through the void blade, he slashed at the commander, opening a smaller portal that sucked the entity in before snapping closed. The remaining shadow soldiers faltered at their leader's disappearance. Taking advantage of the moment, Goku rushed to Kaiza, finding her unconscious and badly injured. The ship shuddered around them, moments from complete disintegration. Hold on, he whispered, gathering her in his arms. With the last of his strength, he leaped through the portal he'd created, the void blade trailing behind them to seal the passage as they fell toward the surface of Arcos Prime. The final explosion of the Saiyan Pride lit up space behind them like a newborn star. Goku came to consciousness slowly, aware first of pain, his own and, oddly, echoes of Kaiza's. The Devil King power created links between him and those close to him, especially in moments of crisis. He opened his eyes to find himself in a crude shelter of some kind. Sunlight filtered through gaps in what appeared to be wreckage repurposed as walls. The air smelled of unfamiliar plants and distant smoke. About time, came a familiar voice. Goku turned his head to see Prince Vegeta sitting on a makeshift chair nearby, his royal armor scuffed and his cape torn. A healing bandage covered one side of his face. Vegeta? Goku croaked, his throat dry. What are you doing here? The prince offered a water container, which Goku accepted gratefully. Saving your worthless hide, apparently. My own diplomatic vessel was attacked upon entering the system. Unlike yours, we managed to crash land mostly intact. Memory rushed back. Kaiza, alive, barely, Vegeta replied, his tone softening slightly. Your idiotic heroics got both of you through that portal, but the landing wasn't gentle. She has 3 broken ribs, a fractured arm, and internal bleeding. Our medic is with her now. Goku attempted to sit up, wincing at the protest from his battered body. The Devil King's power granted him accelerated healing, but even it had limits. The ambassador? The others? Most of the escape pods made it to the surface. We've gathered survivors at this camp. Vegeta stood, gesturing for Goku to follow. Ambassador Kale is coordinating with the local Arcosian resistance. Resistance? Goku asked, carefully rising to his feet. His armor was cracked in several places, and the void blade hung limply at his side, its usual energy dormant. Vegeta led him outside the shelter into what appeared to be a hastily established base camp nestled in a dense jungle. Saiyan warriors and support staff moved purposefully between structures cobbled together from ship debris and local materials. It seems Lady Rhyme was telling the truth about wanting peace, Vegeta explained as they walked. Which is why her own generals launched a coup 3 days ago. They've allied with someone called the Void Harbinger, a new power player who appeared after Frost's death. The Void Commander on our ship mentioned Watchers, Goku recalled. Said they sent their regards. Vegeta's expression darkened. The Void Watchers. According to Arcosian mythology, they're entities that exist between realities, maintaining the cosmic order. Most considered them mere superstition until a devil king from another universe showed up, Goku finished. And rifts started appearing in reality. They reached a larger structure that served as their command center. Inside, Ambassador Kale conferred with an Arcosian female who bore a striking resemblance to Frost, though her coloration was silver and pale blue rather than white and purple. Lady Rhyme, Vegeta introduced. Rightful ruler of the Cold Empire, currently deposed by her own military. The Arcosian turned, her red eyes assessing Goku with careful neutrality. So this is the legendary Devil King. I expected someone more imposing. Goku grinned despite himself. I get that a lot. Lady Rhyme has offered an alliance against her traitorous generals, Kale explained. In exchange for our help restoring her to power, she's willing to sign a formal peace treaty with the Saiyan Empire. And cede the disputed outer systems to Saiyan control, Vegeta added with satisfaction. A diplomatic victory, if we can pull it off. Goku looked between them. The real problem isn't rebellious generals. It's whoever is providing them with void technology and creating these rifts. The Void Harbinger, you called them? Lady Rhyme nodded, her composure slipping slightly. My cousin Frost was always fascinated by ancient myths. He spent decades searching for technology from before recorded history, believing it would grant him power beyond conventional means. Her voice hardened. It seems he found something before his death, something he passed to his most loyal follower, Commander Glacius. Glacius leads the coup, Vegeta explained. And now controls most of the Cold Empire's military assets. Goku processed this information, connecting it with the fragmented memories he'd inherited from previous Devil Kings. The Void technology isn't new, it's ancient. From before either of our empires existed. Lady Rhyme's eyes widened. You know of it? Not clearly, Goku admitted. But the Devil King's memories suggest there was a civilization that mastered travel between realities. They vanished suddenly, leaving only artifacts behind. The Void Blade is one such artifact. He drew the weapon, which remained unusually dormant. But something's wrong. It's not responding like it should. Ambassador Kale leaned forward with interest. Could the attack have damaged it? No, Goku said slowly, examining the blade more carefully. It's more like, it's being suppressed somehow. Something on this planet is affecting void energy. A commotion outside interrupted their discussion. A Saiyan guard burst into the command center, breathless with urgency. Prince Vegeta. Incoming transmission from Planet Vegeta, Priority Alpha. Vegeta immediately moved to the communications array cobbled together from salvaged ship components. The holographic projector flickered to life, displaying the face of Elder Salada, her expression grim. Prince Vegeta, she began without preamble, her image distorted by interference. Planet Vegeta is under attack. The royal palace has been seized by forces loyal to General Paragus, who claims the Devil King's absence proves his unworthiness. Paragus? Vegeta snarled. That old fool was exiled years ago. He returned with significant off-world support, Salada continued, her voice breaking up. Including technology similar to what you encountered at the temple. The council has been taken hostage, and the general has declared himself regent until a true Devil King can be found. Goku and Vegeta exchanged alarmed glances. The Void Harbinger, Goku concluded. This was a coordinated attack, draw us away from Planet Vegeta, then strike while the leadership is divided. Elder Salada, Vegeta addressed the projection, hold out as long as possible. We will return with all available forces. Make haste, my prince, the elder replied. Paragus has given the people an ultimatum, accept his rule by the next full moon, or face orbital bombardment from his allied fleet. The transmission cut off abruptly, leaving them in tense silence. Lady Rhyme spoke first. It seems our situations are more parallel than I realized. Both our empires have been usurped by those using void technology. And both coups happened simultaneously, Ambassador Kale noted. Too coordinated to be coincidence. Vegeta paced the command center, his face a mask of barely controlled fury. We're stranded on this planet with limited resources, most of our forces scattered or dead, and both our homeworlds in enemy hands. Could the situation possibly be worse? As if in answer to his rhetorical question, a Saiyan medic entered. Prince Vegeta, Commander Kaiza's condition has deteriorated. The internal bleeding is more severe than we initially assessed. Without proper medical facilities. He left the implication hanging. Goku felt a cold determination replace his confusion. We need a plan. Now. Vegeta stopped pacing, recognizing the shift in Goku's demeanor. In the 6 months they'd known each other, he'd learned to recognize when the usually easygoing warrior transformed into the Devil King in more than just name. I'm open to suggestions, the prince said, his own anger channeling into focus. Goku turned to Lady Rhyme. You said your cousin was searching for ancient technology. Where? There must have been specific sites. The Arcosian ruler considered for a moment. There is one place. Frost forbade anyone from approaching it, a temple complex on the dark side of Arcos Prime. He claimed it was radioactive from old wars, but his personal shuttle made frequent trips there. A temple, Goku repeated, memories stirring. Like the one where I was summoned? Possibly, Lady Rhyme acknowledged. Our legends speak of a time when Arcosians and Saiyans both worshipped the same gods, before our species became enemies. Ambassador Kale's eyes widened. The Accord of Twin Flames. I thought it was merely a diplomatic euphemism, but if it refers to an actual historical alliance. Goku made his decision. I need to see this temple. If Frost found void technology there, we might find a way to neutralize it, and save both our worlds. The journey is treacherous, Lady Rhyme warned. The dark side of Arcos Prime is perpetually frozen, with atmospheric conditions that disrupt most technology. And Glacius has patrols searching for us. I'll go with you, Vegeta declared, surprising everyone. When Goku raised an eyebrow, the prince scowled. Don't flatter yourself. My planet is at stake, and I trust you about as far as I can throw you, which, admittedly, isn't far given your ridiculous density. Goku smiled despite the dire situation. What about Kaiza? The medic stepped forward hesitantly. There might be a solution. Arcosian healing chambers are more advanced than ours. If we could reach a medical facility. Lady Rhyme nodded. There's an outpost loyal to me in the southern hemisphere. Small but equipped with medical technology. Ambassador Kale, Vegeta addressed the elderly Saiyan, you'll take Commander Kaiza to this outpost with an escort of our best warriors. Secure her treatment and establish a backup command post. The Devil King and I will investigate the temple. And I, Lady Rhyme added, will gather what remains of my loyal forces. If we're to retake either of our worlds, we'll need a fleet. For a brief moment, the hopelessness of their situation lifted. They had the beginnings of a plan, however desperate. Goku knelt beside Kaiza's unconscious form before departing, taking her hand gently in his. Over months of working together, training together, and facing dangers side by side, she'd become more than just an advisor. The exact nature of their relationship remained undefined, complicated by his memories of Chi-Chi and her lifetime of Saiyan emotional restraint, but the connection was undeniable. I'll find a way to fix this, he promised softly. All of it. As he turned to leave, his hand brushed the void blade at his hip. For just an instant, it flared to life, responding to his determination. Something on this planet was indeed affecting void energy, perhaps dampening it, perhaps concentrating it elsewhere. Either way, Goku intended to find out what. The dark side of Arcos Prime lived up to its ominous name. Perpetual night ruled this hemisphere, the planet's rotation locked so that one face always turned away from its sun. Ice storms howled across vast glacial plains, and temperatures plunged to levels that would kill most species in minutes. Fortunately, both Saiyans and Arcosians evolved to withstand extreme conditions. Goku and Vegeta trudged through the frozen landscape, guided by coordinates Lady Rhyme had provided, their ki creating a protective aura against the worst of the cold. "Remind me why we didn't take a vehicle," Vegeta grumbled, his breath fogging in the frigid air. "Because anything with an energy signature would be detected by Glacius's patrols," Goku replied, trudging forward against the howling wind. "And because you said, and I quote, Saiyan warriors don't need coddling from machines." "I'm reconsidering that position," Vegeta muttered, though not quietly enough to be lost in the storm. Goku grinned. Despite the dire circumstances, there was something comfortingly familiar about adventuring with Vegeta. It reminded him of their reluctant teamwork against common enemies in his home universe. The wind shifted suddenly, revealing a massive structure looming in the distance, a pyramid of black stone, its surface etched with glowing symbols that pulsed faintly against the darkness. "That's not Arcosian architecture," Vegeta observed, squinting through the swirling snow. "Not Saiyan either," Goku added. "But those symbols." He drew the void blade, which hummed to life more strongly than it had since their arrival on Arcos Prime. The glyphs etched along its surface matched those on the pyramid perfectly. They approached cautiously, senses alert for traps or guards. Surprisingly, the area appeared deserted, though signs of recent activity were evident: equipment left behind, footprints not yet covered by drifting snow, power cables running from portable generators into the structure. Frost's research team, Vegeta surmised. Abandoned in a hurry when the coup began. The entrance to the pyramid was a simple archway, unadorned except for more of the glowing symbols. As they passed through, the howling of the storm faded, replaced by an eerie silence. The temperature rose noticeably, though the air remained chilly. Inside, the pyramid revealed itself to be much larger than external appearances suggested, a labyrinth of corridors and chambers extending deep into the planet. Artificial lighting had been installed by Frost's researchers, but between these modern additions, the ancient symbols continued their pulse, casting moving shadows that seemed to follow them as they advanced. "I don't like this place," Vegeta said quietly, uncharacteristic unease in his voice. "It feels aware somehow." Goku nodded, feeling the same sensation, as if the structure itself was studying them, assessing their worthiness. The void blade at his hip grew warmer, its energy resonating with their surroundings. They followed the most traveled path, marked by equipment and cables, leading deeper into the pyramid. Eventually, they reached what appeared to be the main research area, a vast chamber with a domed ceiling, dominated by a central platform, where a familiar object rested. Another Nexus stone, Goku breathed, recognizing the crystalline artifact that resembled the one from the temple on planet Vegeta. This one was larger, however, and instead of swirling with chaotic colors, it pulsed with steady purple-black energy. Around the stone, Frost's researchers had constructed a complex apparatus, cables and instruments connected to the artifact, apparently designed to harness or study its power. Notes and equipment were scattered about, abandoned mid-experiment. "Look at this," Vegeta called, examining a holographic display left active at a workstation. It showed a map of the galaxy with pulsing points of light at specific locations, including planet Vegeta and Arcos Prime. They were tracking something. Goku joined him, studying the display. "Not tracking. These are potential rupture points, places where the barrier between realities is naturally thin." "How do you know that?" Vegeta demanded. Goku tapped his temple. "Devil King memories. The original civilization that created these artifacts, they called themselves the architects, built structures like this pyramid at cosmic weak points to stabilize reality." Vegeta looked between Goku and the Nexus stone with new understanding. So these temples weren't for worship, they were technological installations disguised as religious sites. "Exactly," Goku confirmed, approaching the central platform. "The Devil King wasn't originally a conqueror at all, he was a guardian, tasked with maintaining these sites and preventing reality breaches. The void blade pulsed strongly now, almost pulling him toward the Nexus Stone. When Goku drew it, the weapon's energy flared brilliantly, casting long shadows across the chamber. Whatever Frost discovered here, he continued, it wasn't just a weapon or power source. It was knowledge about the true purpose of the Devil King and these artifacts. Knowledge he twisted, Vegeta surmised. Using void energy to create rifts rather than seal them. Goku nodded, carefully examining the apparatus surrounding the Nexus Stone. They reversed the polarity of the stone somehow. Instead of stabilizing reality, it's being used to weaken the barriers. He pointed to specific modifications. And they're channeling the energy elsewhere, transmitting it. To where? Vegeta asked, though his expression suggested he already suspected the answer. To every temple site on that map, Goku replied grimly. Including the one on planet Vegeta. They're creating a network of controlled reality breaches. For what purpose? Vegeta demanded. What could possibly be worth risking the collapse of reality itself? Before Goku could respond, the chamber trembled slightly, dust falling from the ancient ceiling. The void blade in his hand pulsed with sudden urgency, warning of danger. We're not alone, he whispered, extending his senses through the Devil King's power. The shadows at the edges of the chamber deepened, solidifying into familiar forms, void soldiers, more substantial than the shadow warriors they'd fought before, but clearly created from the same energy. Well, came a voice from the main entrance. The prodigal prince and the false Devil King. How convenient. An Arcosian glided into view, taller than Frost had been, with black armor integrated into his white and purple form. Cold amusement played across features that resembled Frisia's final form, though with jagged crystalline growths protruding from his shoulders and crown. Commander Glacius, I presume, Vegeta said, dropping into a fighting stance. The Arcosian bowed mockingly. Prince Vegeta. I'd say it's an honor, but we both know the age of princes and kings is passing. His red eyes shifted to Goku. And the anomaly himself. My benefactors are most interested in you. Your benefactors being the Void Watchers, Goku stated. The same entities that corrupted the original Devil King. Glacius raised an eyebrow ridge. Corrupted? No, child. They elevated him. As they offered to elevate Frost, before his unfortunate resistance to their final transformation. A cruel smile played across his face. I proved more adaptable. As if to demonstrate, Glacius raised a hand. Purple-black energy crackled around it, pure void power, channeled through his body in a way that should have been impossible for a mortal being. The Void Harbinger, Goku realized. You're not just using the technology, you've let the void energy infuse you. The first of many, Glacius confirmed. Soon, both our empires will be led by those who understand the true nature of power, the power to transcend reality itself. You're insane, Vegeta spat. The void energy is destabilizing the universe. You're risking everything for personal power. A calculated risk, Glacius replied dismissively. The architects feared the void, so they built barriers and guardians. But what they feared wasn't destruction, it was evolution. Beyond this reality lies infinite potential for those brave enough to embrace it. Goku felt the void blade pulse with what almost seemed like anger. The architects didn't fear evolution. They witnessed what happened to civilizations that tried to harness void energy. They were consumed from within, their realities collapsing. Propaganda, Glacius waved a hand dismissively. Spread by guardians like you to maintain control. His expression hardened. Enough talk. You've seen too much, and while killing you here would be satisfying, my benefactors have other plans. He gestured to his void soldiers. Bring them. Alive. The soldiers advanced, their movements unnaturally fluid. Goku raised the void blade, which blazed with energy in response to the approaching threat. Any brilliant strategies? Vegeta asked, back to back with Goku as they were surrounded. Just one, Goku replied. Hit them really, really hard. Vegeta snorted. That's your solution to everything. Has it ever not worked? Fair point. They exploded into action simultaneously. Vegeta launched a barrage of energy blasts that scattered the front line of soldiers, while Goku charged directly at Glacius, the void blade cleaving through any opposition that crossed his path. The Arcosian commander seemed momentarily surprised by the direct assault but recovered quickly, meeting Goku's attack with a shield of void energy that repelled the blade strike. Impressive, Glacius acknowledged. But futile. The void flows through me now. I am more than mere flesh. Goku didn't waste breath responding. Instead, he channeled the crimson flame of the Devil King, combining it with the Void Blade's energy in a technique he'd been developing over months of training. The blade's edge shimmered, then transformed, becoming a conduit for concentrated reality, the perfect counter to void energy. His next strike shattered Glacius's shield, drawing a hiss of pain and surprise from the Arcosian. Impossible. No weapon can penetrate void energy. This one can, Goku replied, pressing his advantage. It was designed for exactly that purpose. Meanwhile, Vegeta was demonstrating why he was considered one of the most formidable warriors in the Saiyan Empire, even without legendary Devil King powers. His precise, devastating attacks tore through void soldiers with ruthless efficiency, each movement calculated for maximum effect. Is this really the best your benefactors could provide? The prince taunted, dispatching 3 soldiers with a spinning kick followed by concentrated energy blasts. I've had more challenge from training drones. Glacius snarled with frustration as Goku forced him back toward the Nexus Stone. You understand nothing of what's coming. The Void Watchers have witnessed the birth and death of countless universes. This reality is but one of infinite possibilities, and it has been judged unworthy. Not your call to make, Goku replied, ducking under a desperate energy blast from the Arcosian. And definitely not theirs. He feinted left, then struck from the right, the void blade slicing through Glacius's armor and drawing first blood. The Arcosian staggered backward, colliding with the apparatus surrounding the Nexus Stone. Careful. Glacius warned, sudden fear replacing his arrogance. Damage the containment field, and the stone's energy will release uncontrolled. Goku hesitated, sensing truth in the warning. That moment of hesitation cost him as Glacius gathered void energy between his palms and released it in a devastating wave that sent Goku flying across the chamber. Kakarot. Vegeta shouted, using the name Saiyan still called him despite his preference for Goku. The prince attempted to reach him but found himself suddenly surrounded by a new wave of void soldiers, these ones stronger and more substantial than the first group. They formed a barrier between the two warriors, forcing Vegeta to focus on his own survival. Glacius approached Goku, who struggled to rise, the void blade still clutched in his hand but its energy flickering weakly. So much potential, the Arcosian mused. The Watchers sensed it immediately, why they became so agitated when you appeared in this reality. An anomaly with the power to either reinforce the barriers between worlds, or shatter them completely. He extended a hand wreathed in void energy. Join us willingly, and your friends will be spared. Resist, and watch them consumed one by one, starting with your precious commander. Even now, my forces close in on the medical outpost where she's being treated. Rage flashed through Goku at the threat to Kaiza, still recovering from injuries sustained protecting him. The crimson flame surged in response, but something else answered as well, a deeper power, one he'd almost forgotten was available to him. In his home universe, he'd achieved the legendary Super Saiyan transformation through righteous anger at Frisia's cruelty. Here, that pathway had been dormant, overshadowed by the Devil King's power. But now, facing another tyrant threatening those he cared about, both energies responded simultaneously. Gold and crimson auras erupted around him, intertwining in a display of power that cracked the ancient floor beneath his feet. His hair lifted and transformed, not just to the golden spikes of Super Saiyan but streaked with the blood red of the Devil King's flame. Glacius stumbled backward, genuine fear in his eyes. What is this? The Watchers didn't foresee this possibility. Goku rose slowly, the hybrid transformation stabilizing around him. When he spoke, his voice resonated with dual energies. Tell your benefactors they missed something important about this anomaly. Where I come from, we specialize in the impossible. He moved faster than Glacius could track, appearing behind the Arcosian and striking with the void blade before he could react. The weapon, now glowing gold and crimson like its wielder, sliced through Glacius's void-enhanced armor as if it were paper. The commander screamed, a sound that echoed oddly, as if multiple voices cried out in pain. Purple-black energy leaked from the wound, but instead of blood, it seemed more like the void itself had been injured. The Watchers. Glacius gasped, they'll know, they'll come themselves. Let them, Goku replied, raising the blade for a final strike. Wait. Vegeta called, having dispatched the last of his opponents. We need him alive. He knows their plans, their weaknesses. Goku hesitated, the battle rage urging him to finish the creature that had threatened Kaiza, but reason prevailed. He lowered the blade, keeping it trained on the wounded Arcosian. Talk, he commanded. What exactly are the Void Watchers planning? Why coordinate coups on both our worlds? Glacius laughed weakly, void energy still seeping from his wound. Control the nexus points, control reality itself. Your temples, they're not just stabilizers. They're gateways. The architects built them to keep something out. What something? Vegeta demanded. The Void Lords, Glacius whispered, his voice failing as the void energy sustaining him drained away. Entities that existed before this reality formed. Banished by the architects to the space between universes. The Watchers serve them, prepare for their return. His voice trailed off as his form began to destabilize, the void energy infusing his body becoming unstable without his conscious control. Before either Goku or Vegeta could react, Glacius dissolved into a swirling mass of purple-black energy that was sucked into the Nexus Stone with a sound like distant thunder. Well, Vegeta said after a moment of shocked silence, that was informative and disturbing in equal measure. Goku's dual transformation faded, leaving him exhausted but focused. We need to deactivate this apparatus before more Void soldiers arrive. If Glacius was channeling energy from this stone to the others, then shutting it down might weaken whatever they're planning on planet Vegeta. Vegeta finished, already examining the equipment. But neither of us is a scientist. One wrong move could cause exactly what Glacius warned about, an uncontrolled energy release. Goku studied the Nexus Stone thoughtfully, then raised the Void Blade. I might not be a scientist, but I am the Devil King. These artifacts were created to work together. Understanding what he intended, Vegeta stepped back. If you blow us up, I'll kill you in the afterlife. Deal, Goku replied with a grin, then plunged the blade directly into the heart of the Nexus Stone. Unlike the catastrophic release Glacius had warned of, the contact created a perfect resonance. Energy flowed between the artifacts, stabilizing rather than exploding. The stone's purple-black pulse gradually shifted, the corruption receding until it glowed with the same swirling colors as the one on planet Vegeta had before being modified. The apparatus surrounding it powered down, connections severing as the stone rejected the artificial constraints. Throughout the pyramid, the ancient symbols flared brightly, then settled into a steady, harmonious glow. I think, Goku said slowly, we just reactivated the original security system. As if confirming his assessment, a holographic projection appeared above the stone, a galactic map similar to the one they'd seen earlier, but now showing the status of other nexus points. Most glowed red, indicating disruption or corruption, but the one representing Arcos Prime now shone blue. One down, Vegeta observed. How many more to go? Too many to fix one by one, Goku replied, studying the map. But there's a master control point. He pointed to a pulsing nexus at the heart of the galaxy, larger than the others and connected to all of them. The architect's homeworld. If we can reach that, we might be able to reactivate the entire network at once. And where exactly is this homeworld? Vegeta asked skeptically. According to this, Goku said, examining the coordinates, it's an unclaimed space at the galactic core. No empire controls it because the radiation levels make it uninhabitable. He looked up with a grim smile. Radiation that might actually be uncontrolled void energy from a corrupted nexus point. Vegeta processed this information with a tactician's mind. So our new plan is to somehow escape this planet, gather enough forces to challenge both coup leaders, reach an uninhabitable world at the galactic core, and activate ancient technology we barely understand. Pretty much. Against entities that apparently predate reality itself. Yep. Vegeta was silent for a moment, then laughed, a genuine sound of amusement that echoed through the ancient chamber. You really are just like the legend said. Completely insane. I prefer optimistic, Goku replied, sheathing the void blade. Call it what you want, Vegeta said, still chuckling. But first, we need to get off this frozen rock and rendezvous with the others. If Glacius wasn't bluffing about attacking the medical outpost. Goku's expression hardened. He wasn't. I can sense a disturbance in that direction. The connection he shared with Kaiza, faint but persistent, conveyed danger. We need to move. Now. They made their way quickly back through the pyramid, its passages now illuminated by the steadily glowing symbols. Outside, they found the storm had abated somewhat, as if the reactivation of the temple's original purpose had influenced even the weather. One problem, Vegeta noted as they emerged. We still don't have transportation, and the outpost is on the other side of the planet. Goku considered for a moment, then drew the void blade again. Actually, I think we do. Now that the Nexus Stone is functioning properly, this should work much better. With a practiced motion, he slashed open a portal similar to the one he'd created during the ship's destruction, but more stable and precise. Through it, they could see the distant outpost where Kaiza and the others had taken refuge. Dimensional shortcuts, Vegeta observed with reluctant admiration. Handy. Very, Goku agreed. Though it takes a lot of energy to maintain, so we should, he broke off as the image in the portal shifted, revealing chaos at the outpost. Void soldiers surrounded the facility, while Saiyan warriors fought desperately to defend it. Explosions rocked the structures, and through the confusion, Goku caught glimpses of medical staff evacuating patients. Hurry, he finished, leaping through the portal without further discussion. Vegeta followed close behind, both warriors emerging directly into the heart of the battle. Their sudden appearance momentarily confused both sides, creating a brief pause in the fighting. Goku took advantage of the moment, channeling energy through the void blade to create a shockwave that dispersed the nearest void soldiers. Find Kaiza, he shouted to Vegeta. I'll clear a path. The prince nodded sharply and broke off toward the main medical facility, blasting through enemies with concentrated precision. Goku turned his attention to the largest concentration of void soldiers, who were regrouping for another assault. Unlike their previous encounters, where he'd fought defensively or held back, Goku now unleashed the full combination of Super Saiyan and Devil King energies. The resulting power was devastating, void soldiers disintegrated on contact, their energy absorbed and neutralized by the void blade. Through the melee, he caught sight of Ambassador Kale directing the defense, the elderly diplomat proving his warrior background was no exaggeration. Despite his age, Kale moved with deadly efficiency, his experience compensating for any physical decline. Devil King. Kale called, noticing Goku's arrival. They came without warning, ships appearing directly above the outpost through some kind of rift. Where's Kaiza? Goku demanded, dispatching another group of attackers. Evacuation shuttle, Kale replied, firing a precisely aimed energy blast that took down a void soldier attempting to flank them. Eastern landing pad. She insisted on coordinating despite her condition. Of course she did, Goku thought with equal parts exasperation and admiration. Aloud, he said, Vegeta's headed that way. Secure the perimeter here, we've found something that might turn the tide of this whole conflict. Kale nodded sharply. We'll hold. Go. Goku cut through the battlefield toward the eastern section of the outpost, where shuttlecraft were being hastily loaded with wounded and essential personnel. The fighting was heaviest here, with Void soldiers prioritizing the escape vessels. He spotted Vegeta in the thick of the combat, fighting alongside Lady Rhyme herself. The Arcosian ruler wielded ice-based energy attacks that proved surprisingly effective against the Void soldiers, freezing them solid before shattering their forms with precise strikes. Beyond them, supervising the evacuation despite being clearly unfit for duty, stood Kaiza. She wore a medical support exoskeleton over her injuries, allowing her to move despite her broken bones, and directed operations with her usual efficiency. When Void soldiers broke through the defensive line, she engaged them directly, her fighting style adapted to work within her physical limitations. Seeing her in danger triggered something primal in Goku. He channeled ki into his legs and launched himself across the battlefield, the Void blade trailing crimson gold energy in his wake. He tore through the attackers threatening the evacuation zone with single-minded intensity, clearing a path to Kaiza's position. She turned as he approached, relief briefly breaking through her commander's composure. Goku. You made it. Told you I'd fix things, he replied, taking up position beside her. Though you're supposed to be resting, not fighting. Resting is overrated, she retorted, wincing as her injuries protested. Did you find anything useful at the temple? More than we expected, he confirmed. Including how to shut down their Void technology. We reactivated the temple's original purpose. Her eyes widened with understanding. That's why their reinforcements stopped coming. The local rifts must have closed. Goku nodded. But we need to get off planet fast. According to what we learned, this is bigger than just Frost's successor or General Paragus. There's something ancient pulling the strings, using the Void energy to break through from outside reality. Before Kaiza could respond, a massive explosion rocked the landing pad. One of the evacuation shuttles erupted in flames, sending debris raining down across the area. Through the smoke emerged a figure Goku had hoped not to see again so soon, another Void commander, this one in Saiyan armor bearing General Paragus's insignia. The false king, the commander intoned, voice reverberating unnaturally. Your interference ends here. The harbingers of the Void Lords will not be denied. Unlike Glacius, this commander seemed more fully transformed by Void energy, its physical form partially translucent, showing swirling darkness within a shell of armor and flesh. Get everyone on the remaining shuttles, Goku told Kaiza quietly. I'll handle this. We'll handle this, Vegeta corrected, arriving at his side with Lady Rhyme following close behind. If that thing serves Paragus, I have personal business with it. The Void commander surveyed them with empty eyes that somehow conveyed amusement. 3 empires reduced to 4 desperate individuals. How fitting that you'll witness the beginning of the end together. It raised its arms, and reality seemed to bend around them. The air darkened, pressure building as if the atmosphere itself was being compressed. Goku recognized the technique from fragmented Devil King memories, a localized reality collapse, designed to crush everything within its radius. Barrier, he shouted, plunging the Void blade into the ground. Vegeta and Lady Rhyme immediately channeled their energy into him, understanding the need without explanation. The combined power flowed through Goku into the blade, creating a dome of stabilized reality that pushed back against the commander's attack. The opposing forces created a deafening howl, like wind rushing through a narrow canyon. The ground beneath them cracked as fundamental forces clashed. It's too strong. Lady Rhyme shouted over the noise. We can't hold this forever. She was right. Even with their combined power, the Void Commander's control over reality was overwhelming, a direct channel to whatever entities waited beyond the barriers between worlds. Goku felt something tearing inside him as he strained to maintain the protective barrier. The Devil King power and his Super Saiyan energy were never designed to work together this way, and the strain threatened to rip him apart at a cellular level. Then he felt another energy joining theirs, Kaiza, ignoring both his instructions and her injuries, pouring her life force into the effort. Their connection, built over months of trust and shared battles, amplified the effect beyond what should have been possible. "Whatever you're going to do," she gritted through clenched teeth, "do it now." Inspiration struck. Goku remembered what had happened at the pyramid when he'd plunged the void blade into the Nexus Stone, how it had purged the corruption and restored the artifact's original purpose. "Keep the barrier up," he ordered, pulling the blade from the ground. The protective dome wavered but held as the others compensated for the shift in power. Before the Void Commander could react, Goku charged directly at it, the void blade held like a spear. The commander's attack intensified, reality bending and tearing around him, but Goku pushed forward, each step a battle against forces trying to unmake his very existence. "Impossible," the commander hissed, genuine fear entering its voice as Goku continued to advance. "Nothing can move through a reality collapse." "I'm getting really tired," Goku replied through gritted teeth, "of being told what's impossible." With a final surge of combined energy, he thrust the void blade directly into the commander's chest. As with Glacius, the effect was immediate but different. Instead of dissolving, the commander's form solidified, the void energy being forcibly extracted and channeled through the blade. The commander screamed, the sound rippling across multiple frequencies as its connection to the Void Lords was severed. Its form shifted, void energy draining away to reveal an ordinary Saiyan warrior beneath, one of Paragas's elite guards, corrupted and transformed by void energy. As the last of the corruption drained away, the warrior collapsed, unconscious but alive. The reality collapse dissipated, pressure normalizing as natural laws reasserted themselves. Goku staggered, nearly falling as exhaustion hit him like a physical blow. Kaiza caught him despite her own injuries, supporting his weight with the help of her medical exoskeleton. "That," she said breathlessly, "was either the bravest or stupidest thing I've ever seen." Thin line between the two, Goku managed to reply, offering a weak smile. Vegeta approached the unconscious warrior, examining him with disgust and pity. One of Paragas's most loyal commanders. He must have been the first test subject for void transformation on a Saiyan. Which means Paragas is doing the same thing on planet Vegeta that Glacius was doing here, Lady Rhyme concluded. Creating an army of void-enhanced soldiers loyal only to him, and by extension, to these Void Lords. The implications were chilling. If both coup leaders were working toward the same goal, creating breaches between realities large enough for extradimensional entities to enter their universe, then the situation was even more dire than they'd initially believed. "We need to move," Vegeta decided. "The remaining shuttles are ready for launch. We'll rendezvous with Lady Rhyme's loyalist fleet at the predetermined coordinates." Goku nodded, sheathing the void blade with hands that trembled from exertion. "And then we take back our worlds." As they made their way to the waiting shuttle, supporting each other through injuries and exhaustion, Kaiza spoke quietly to Goku. "That transformation earlier, that wasn't just the Devil King power. That was something else." "Super Saiyan," he confirmed. "A legendary transformation from my universe. Apparently, it works here too." "The Golden Warrior of ancient myth," she said wonderingly. "Combined with the Devil King's crimson flame. No wonder the Void Watchers fear you, you're a living contradiction to their concept of fixed reality." Goku considered this as they boarded the shuttle, settling into seats as the engines powered up for launch. "Maybe that's why I was pulled here instead of a native Devil King. The ritual found someone who could challenge the very rules of reality itself." "A dangerous quality," Vegeta commented from nearby, having overheard. "But perhaps exactly what we need right now." The shuttle lifted off, joining others already streaking toward the upper atmosphere. Below, the outpost burned, but most of their people had escaped, a small victory in what promised to be a much larger war. As they broke through the cloud layer, Goku gazed out at the stars. Somewhere out there waited the masterminds behind everything, the Void Watchers and their mysterious lords. Entities powerful enough to corrupt devil kings and manipulate empires like pieces on a cosmic game board. But for the first time since arriving in this universe, Goku felt he truly understood his purpose here. Not just as a warrior or ruler, but as a guardian against forces that threatened reality itself, a role he'd played many times before in his home universe, just with different names and faces. The Devil King's memories no longer felt foreign or imposed. They were part of him now, integrated with his own experiences to create something new, something neither the architects nor the Void Lords had anticipated. He glanced at Kaiza beside him, at Vegeta across the aisle, at Lady Rhyme conferring with her commanders near the cockpit. Allies from different backgrounds united by a common threat. It reminded him of the best moments from his original life, the times when differences were set aside for a greater purpose. Next stop, Vegeta announced as the shuttles formed up around a waiting cruiser bearing Rhyme's royal insignia, Planet Vegeta. I hope you're ready to reclaim your throne, Devil King. Goku smiled, feeling strength returning as his body adapted to the hybrid transformation he discovered. I'm not interested in thrones, Vegeta. But I am ready to kick some void-possessed butt. The prince rolled his eyes, but a smirk played at the corners of his mouth. Eloquent as always. But for once, we're in complete agreement. Lady Rhyme's loyalist fleet was smaller than Goku had hoped, just 4 capital ships and their escorts, hiding in an uncharted nebula at the edge of the Arcosia system. But what they lacked in numbers, they made up for in determination and information. The fleet's command center buzzed with activity as survivors from various outposts and installations reported in, bringing intelligence about the coup's reach and Glacius's operations. We've confirmed that similar takeovers have occurred in at least 3 other major powers, reported Admiral Cheel, Rhyme's most trusted military commander. The tall, lean Arcosian indicated star systems on the holographic display. The Heron Confederacy, the Yardrat Republic, and the Namekian Protectorates all report leadership changes coinciding with our own coup. All species with historical connections to advanced energy manipulation, Ambassador Kale noted from his seat at the conference table. The elderly Saiyan had proven invaluable in coordinating their scattered forces. Precisely the cultures that might recognize and resist void energy corruption. Goku studied the map thoughtfully. Each of the affected systems contained temples or ruins similar to the one they'd found on Arcos Prime, nexus points in the Architect's ancient network. They're methodically seizing control of every stabilization point, he concluded. Once they control them all, they can synchronize a massive breach, enough to let these Void Lords enter our reality completely. Vegeta, who had been unusually quiet during the briefing, finally spoke. General Paragus was exiled for attempting to overthrow my father years ago. His return with void technology and outside support explains his sudden power, but not his motives. Why align with extradimensional entities? What could they possibly offer that would be worth risking reality itself? The same thing beings like him always want, Kaiza said from her position beside Goku. She had finally received proper medical treatment aboard Rhyme's flagship, though she still wore a lightweight support brace for her healing ribs. Power. Immortality. Revenge. Take your pick. All of the above, most likely, Lady Rhyme suggested. These Void Lords clearly offer their servants a taste of their power, enough to corrupt and control them. Paragus probably believes he's using them, while they're using him. Which brings us to the immediate problem, Admiral Cheel redirected, highlighting Planet Vegeta on the display. Our scouts report Paragus has established a defensive perimeter around the planet, a blockade similar to what Glacius implemented here, but larger. Additionally, he's modified the temple at the Royal Palace to project a void energy shield around the capital city. Making conventional assault impossible, Vegeta concluded bitterly. Even if we could break through the blockade, we'd never penetrate that shield with our current forces. Unless, Goku interjected, we don't need to break it. He tapped the void blade at his hip. This can create passages through void energy. If I can get close enough to the shield, I might be able to cut a doorway through it, enough for a small strike team to enter. A suicide mission, Vegeta stated flatly. Paragus will have void-enhanced guards watching for exactly that kind of attempt. Not if we create a sufficient distraction, Lady Rhyme suggested. My fleet can engage the blockade, drawing attention away from a smaller, faster vessel approaching from a different vector. Still nearly impossible, Admiral Cheel cautioned. But, perhaps our only option. I've pulled off, nearly impossible, more times than I can count, Goku said with a confidence that made several officers exchange skeptical glances. But we need intelligence from inside the shield first. Any word from Elder Salada or the Resistance? Ambassador Kale nodded. Sporadic communications only, but enough to establish that a resistance exists, centered around the old temple district. According to their reports, Paragus is planning some kind of ceremony during the full moon, 3 days from now. The blood moon ritual, Kaiza explained when several non-Saiyans looked confused. Traditionally performed only when crowning a new king. If Paragus is planning that ceremony, he's declaring himself king, Vegeta finished, fury evident in his tightly controlled voice. Usurping both my family's royal line and the Devil King's authority in one move. There's more, Kale continued grimly. The Resistance reports Paragus has been taking Saiyans with high power levels to the temple daily. They enter normal and leave, changed. Enhanced with void energy, but also diminished somehow, like shells of their former selves. Creating his own void-enhanced elite guard, Goku surmised. Just like what we saw at the outpost. Which means we have 3 days to plan and execute our counterattack, Vegeta declared. Before Paragus legitimizes his rule and potentially completes whatever void ritual he's building toward. The planning session that followed was intensive, with every aspect of the mission dissected and analyzed. Despite their different backgrounds and historic enmity, the Saiyans and Arcosians worked together with surprising efficiency, united by the existential threat they faced. Eventually, a workable strategy emerged. Lady Rhyme's fleet would engage the blockade as a diversion while a small, fast scout ship carrying Goku, Vegeta, and Kaiza would approach from planet Vegeta's moon, using its gravity well to mask their approach. Once near the shield, Goku would use the Void Blade to create an entry point, allowing them to infiltrate the capital and link up with the Resistance. If we can reach the temple, Goku concluded, I can use the Void Blade on their Nexus Stone, just like on Arcos Prime. That should disable the shield and disrupt Paragus's void powers long enough for our forces to land. And then, Vegeta added with grim satisfaction, I personally remove Paragus's head from his shoulders. Assuming the Void Watchers don't intervene directly, Kaiza cautioned. If they realize what we're planning. They probably already know, Goku admitted. But they have limitations too. From what we've seen and what the Devil King's memories suggest, they can't fully manifest in our reality without help. That's why they need servants like Glacius and Paragus to prepare the way. A slim advantage, Admiral Cheel noted, but we'll take what we can get. As the meeting adjourned, Lady Rhyme approached Goku privately. The Arcosian ruler had proved to be far more honorable than her cousin Frost, reminding Goku that in this universe, not all Cold Empire members were irredeemably villainous. Devil King, she began formally, then amended, Goku. I wish to thank you personally. Had you not discovered the truth at the temple, we might still be fighting each other while a greater threat consumed both our worlds. Just doing what needed to be done, Goku replied honestly. And please, just Goku is fine. I'm still getting used to the whole Devil King thing. Rhyme studied him with perceptive red eyes. You truly are unlike any Saiyan I've encountered. In all our species' long history of conflict, I never imagined standing alongside one as an equal, let alone following a Devil King into battle. History is made by people willing to try new approaches, Goku said, surprising himself with the wisdom that seemed to come partly from the integrated Devil King memories. Maybe after all this is over, we can build something better than the old rivalries. Perhaps, Rhyme agreed thoughtfully. If we survive what's coming. As she departed to oversee preparations, Kaiza joined Goku near the viewport where he'd wandered to gather his thoughts. For a moment, they stood in companionable silence, watching distant stars through the nebula's colorful gases. "You've changed," she observed finally. "Not just physically, with the new transformation. You move differently, speak differently sometimes. More like a devil king," Goku suggested. "More like yourself," she corrected. "When you first arrived, you seemed torn between two identities, Goku from Earth and Kakarot the Devil King. Now you're integrating them into something new." Goku considered this. "The memories help. Understanding why the Devil King exists in the first place makes it easier to accept the role. I'm still me, still the guy who loves fighting and food and friends, but I'm also connected to something bigger now." Kaiza smiled slightly. "The most powerful being in the galaxy, and your priorities are still fighting, food, and friends." "Not necessarily in that order," Goku replied with a grin. Her expression became serious again. "This mission to planet Vegeta, the odds are not in our favor. They rarely are in the really important fights," he said with the calm acceptance of someone who had faced impossible odds many times before. "But that's never stopped me yet." "No," Kaiza agreed, her hand finding his in a rare display of personal connection. "I don't suppose it has." The moment stretched between them, comfortable yet charged with unspoken emotions. In his original life, Goku had often been oblivious to such nuances, but the Devil King's experiences had given him a new perspective, an awareness of connections that went beyond simple friendship. Before either could speak further, however, alarms blared throughout the ship. The fleet-wide communication system activated with Admiral Chiel's urgent voice, "All hands to battle stations. Void rifts detected at the fleet perimeter. We are under attack." Goku and Kaiza raced to the command center, arriving just as the viewscreen displayed the threat, massive rifts opening around the nebula, disgorging ships unlike any they'd seen before. Where normal vessels had distinct forms, these seemed to phase between different configurations, their very structure fluid and unstable. Void ships, Lady Rhyme identified, already issuing orders to her fleet. Not Arcosian or Saiyan designs, something else entirely. "They found us," Vegeta stated the obvious, joining them at the command console. "But how? This nebula blocks all conventional sensors." "They don't need sensors," Goku realized, drawing the void blade, which pulsed with warning energy. "They can track the blade. It's attuned to void energy, a beacon to anyone looking for it." "Then we need to move now," Vegeta decided. Our original plan accelerated. While Rhyme's fleet engages these void ships, we take a scout craft directly to planet Vegeta. "Agreed," Lady Rhyme said without hesitation. "Admiral Chiel can command the fleet defense. I'll provide you our fastest scout ship with my best pilot." As the void ships closed in, chaos erupted aboard the flagship. Crew raced to battle stations, weapons powered up, and fighters launched from hangar bays to meet the threat head-on. Goku, Vegeta, and Kaiza followed Lady Rhyme through corridors increasingly filled with personnel responding to the emergency. They reached a small hangar bay where a sleek, dart-like vessel waited, designed for speed and stealth rather than combat power. "This scout can outrun anything in known space," Rhyme explained as they boarded. "And its stealth systems might confuse even void tracking temporarily." The pilot, an Arcosian with cybernetic enhancements, acknowledged them with a nod. "Course to planet Vegeta, my lady." "Yes, but approach from the dark side, using the moon for cover," Rhyme instructed. "And Sorbet," her voice softened slightly, "return alive, if possible." The pilot, Sorbet, offered a crisp salute. "I serve the true empire, my lady." As the hangar bay doors opened, they caught glimpses of the battle already unfolding outside, Rhyme's ships exchanging fire with the void vessels, energy blasts illuminating the colorful nebula gases. The scout ship slipped out amid the confusion, accelerating rapidly to escape velocity. "They're creating a corridor for us," Kaiza observed, watching through the view screen as Rhyme's fighters deliberately engaged void ships that might have intercepted their course. A costly diversion, Vegeta noted grimly. Let's ensure it's not in vain. The scout ship's engines flared to maximum power, stars blurring as they accelerated to speeds that would have been impossible in Goku's home universe. Within moments, the battle faded behind them, replaced by the empty darkness of interstellar space. Course plotted through the Transnebula Corridor, Sorbet reported. Estimated arrival at Planet Vegeta, 16 hours. That's pushing the engines beyond safety parameters, but under the circumstances. Do whatever it takes, Vegeta commanded. If we miss the Blood Moon ceremony, there might not be a Planet Vegeta to save. As the others discussed technical details of their approach, Goku sat quietly, examining the void blade. Its energy pulsed erratically, responding to the massive concentration of void power they'd just encountered. Something about those ships bothered him. They hadn't felt like vessels piloted by corrupted mortals like Glacius or Paragas's commander. They'd felt alive somehow. Something went wrong with this response, please try again. Write the next chapter. The end. Thank you for watching this video. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video.